And All right, welcome everybody. So this is going to be another great stream, and tonight, as you all know, we have Leslie from Cryptids Canada joining us. But before we bring her in, why don't I say hello to the fellows and ladies that are in the chat right now? We have Kim Teague. Welcome, welcome. And she says, can't wait for our lovely Leslie. We have Diane Ruggles. We love Leslie. This must be your peeps, Leslie. We love Leslie, Jack and Diane, Southern Missouri. We have Tom Michael. Hi, you all from Grimsby, Ontario. Hi, Tom. We have Dave Harrelson, Trucking, Indiana, and Jean Templar, all the way from Iowa. Whoop, whoop. Okay, all right. So why don't we get going? Oh, we have another one. We have Derek Davis. Always wanted to see what you look like. How do you, what? How do you do, ma'am? I am doing just fine, Derek. And this is what I look like. Tim Harsh, sorry I was late. No worries. No, actually, you were early. You were one of the first in chat. Excited to see Leslie today. And yeah, you're back. So welcome, Tim. Tim, where are you from? Just curiosity. We have David Fox. Hello from Oklahoma. Wow. Okay, so we're covering all spectrums here. Okay, so Leslie, I want to welcome you to the stream. It is my pleasure having you here today on me interviewing you. So welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
I think you've heard some of the folks that I've introduced, and I think a lot of them belong to your neck of the woods.
They do. Yep.
Here's another one. We have Brenda Jayla. Love all the stories. Leslie, love you.
Oh, thank you. Love you too.
Derek is saying hi to Tim. All right, so why don't we kick this off, because I know this is going to go very quickly. So I'm just going to have a normal conversation with Leslie, get to know her a little bit better. And what we're going to do is, if you guys want, we can either ask questions during, or we can have questions after. I guess we'll just we'll play it by ear and see if anything pops up while we're having our conversation. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So Tony DeMarco, hi from Hudson County, New Jersey. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right. So let's kick this off. So Leslie, I know you are a fellow Ontarian, like myself. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Well, I'm an old gal. I'm in the 58 now. I'm a mom of 4. Love this topic, and I love all the people that follow it. They're like Cam on Dixie Cryptid says, there are people, and it's like I always thought, it's funny that they say that you don't believe in, or you believe in ghosts and just the crazy stuff, but here we're not embarrassed of loving this topic and sharing the stories together, and it's just a wonderful place to meet really good people. And yeah, that's just it. I'm just me. Just love doing the stories.
Just let me chime in here. Derek Davis, wrong chick. I thought you was the other chick talking now. So I'm Vanka from Canada, sorry, Ontario Cryptids, and Leslie is on the other side. There we go. So Leslie is from Cryptids Canada. So yeah. Let's not, we have Phillips Miller. Hello from Kansas. Welcome, welcome.
Nice.
Okay, so what made you decide to start a YouTube channel?
Oh, boredom. I was going crazy. And at the time, because I had some health issues. So I was like, my husband, who's passed away now, But he was like, "You are not leaving this house." My kids said it because of COVID. Everybody was panicking then. So I'd always had this idea in my head that I wanted to do this, but I didn't have a clue how to do it. So I reached out to Cam, as I said to you the other day,
Hmm.
and he just basically said, like, pick a name and get on there, girl. You can do it. And so one Saturday, my daughter came over and we she figured it out. Thank God, because I can't handle this stuff. Like, I am not technical at all. So this all looks gobbledygook to me. But if I'm taught and I get it, and then, little by little, I was learning more and more and more. And of course, when you have issues with and the issues do happen.
Hmm.
I'm so lucky because my son, I've got my daughter, and I just call them, like today I was telling you, just out of the blue, my sound went on my computer. The headphones weren't working, the surround sound wasn't working, and it turned out it was because of the stuff, that the add-ons that they put on the computer this week. And my son came over half an hour, he had it figured out, and that's that's fine. As long as I have them behind me and I can keep going at this, they can do the technical part.
So now you're a pro with YouTube and uploading and all of that, and it's probably just just a very natural thing for you to do.
It is now. When I get up, I stay up till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I get
Same
up
here,
usually
actually,
around.
sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
just take a night hawk. I always have. When I was writing, I always wrote the best at night. So I usually get up around 9 or 10, and I open my eyes and I lay there for a minute. And if it's a day, like, I upload every other day and I
Hmm.
edit like in between that as well. So I'm working 7 days a week, but I love it. And so as soon as I realize, okay, today's an editing day, okay, I'll get up, go have a shower. But if it's a day that I'm recording, I'm like, can't wait. I love doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
that definitely sounds like a full-time job for you. I know, as we talked the other day, I still work, so I only
yeah,
upload once a week, and I know like
yeah.
today is my day to prep my video and get it up and everything. And as it is, I ran into a little bit of issues, so I'll have to finish it off in the morning. But I
Uh,
can't imagine having to work and do multiple uploads because it does take a lot of time. I don't think people realize how much
right.
time and effort goes into uploading a story.
Yeah. It is time consuming.
So have you well, here, let me see where how I should begin with this question here. Which aspect of the cryptids world do you lean more towards?
Oh, Bigfoot all the way.
Yeah. So have you have an encounter? Have you had an encounter?
I have. I have. Actually, I know for sure I had the one, but the second one, I really am not completely sure about that. So I do hesitate to mention it. But the first one, I didn't know what the heck I was looking at. And it
So
was my dad.
walk us through
Oh,
the whole thing. So what happened? Were you hiking? Were you, what was going on?
okay. So I was just a little kid. Like, I was between 5 and 7. I don't really know exactly. And we were living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. And like once a month, we would go to Miami to visit my parents' best friends. And then once a month, they would come to our place. The one day we were on our way home from visiting them, and we took always the back roads. And this one day there was something on the back road that was like the traffic was, like, not moving. And I can remember exactly, my dad was in front of me. My brother and sister were like beside me in the car. And I was just bored. And I happened to look to this left out the window. And there was this weird looking kid staring at me. He had, and it wasn't a typical, like, it didn't look like a regular Bigfoot, But anyways, okay, he had thick black bushy hair
Mhm.
on his head, and he had a very light coating of hair from his shoulders down.
Mhm.
His face was just skin, and we were staring at each other. And when we got home, or when we were driving, I said, "This is what I saw. Why was there a boy standing in the ditch in the middle of nowhere?" And this is also near the Everglades, too. So that would not be a good place for this kid to be standing.
Mhm.
And my dad turned around and he said, "You saw a skunk ape." And of course, I didn't know what the heck a skunk ape was.
Mhm.
But as I got older, you know, I became more and more aware of the situation. We then moved to BC. So I had another little situation happen there. And again, I don't really know. But when I wrote my book, I doubted myself for years. And then when I wrote my book, the lady that we were going to visit in Miami, she contacted me and she said, "Why were you interested in Bigfoot? What made you interested in that?" And I said, "Because I think I saw one when I was a kid." And I told her where it was, and she said, "Well, you did see it." I, I said, "Well, how do you know?" And she said, "Because I saw it too." And then I just felt so vindicated or validated
Mhm.
that, oh my gosh, so it really was a skunk ape. And then when we moved to BC, I used to meet my girlfriend in the woods doing things we shouldn't have been doing, smoking and such.
Yeah.
And this one day, I was like, there was a tree and it was kind of leaned over another tree like a teeter totter.
Mhm.
And I was sitting on the end and it would go down and then I would push up and I just would do this for fun. I was like 13 at the time. And I'm waiting on her and I heard this growl, huffing growl noise. And I looked up and there was a guy hiding behind the tree. And I tried to ignore him because why would he be there? And then now I didn't know this was a Bigfoot thing until maybe just this last year. But he started smacking his foot on the ground. Uh, Now I know that that's a warning sign for you to get the heck out of here.
Mhm.
But it was like scaring me even then. Like, why is this guy doing these weird things? So I just walked out to the road to meet my friend. Never thought about that for the longest time. And then when I heard somebody else talk about how they stomp their feet,
Mhm.
I remembered that it just was pulled forward, and I remembered that. And then I had another experience. Um, I was speaking with Mike Patterson from Sasquatch, Ontario.
Mhm.
There's a lot of us here, isn't there? But he was saying that his partner had a Bigfoot, a face to face Bigfoot encounter at her back door
Mhm.
near Mohawk Park,
Okay.
which was where I was drawn to do my research. That was my research area. And I would go into the fields beside Mohawk Park and go as far back as I could because I'm just driving my little old van, right?
Mhm.
And especially after Mike told me that, I was like, I doubled down and I was driving as far as I could through this field. And this one day I'm thinking, I better stop because my husband had to pull me out like a month or so before that. So I thought I better stop. So
What do you
I
mean
did.
your husband had to pull you out?
Well, I was driving through a farmer's field and it was really muddy and mucky.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, because they were driving tractors back there.
Right.
And then there's woods all around it. So that's one day I'm sitting, see, I'm getting chills. I'm starting to shake when I talk about this. Um, I looked up and there was a tree I'm so bad at distances, but it was quite a ways away. It was like a 2 fields away, and there was a tree kind of just in the middle of the field, and it looked like a black bear, the back of a black bear sitting under the tree. And at first, I'm thinking maybe it was a bag, a garbage bag. I didn't know what it was because it was really like it was far away. So I was reaching into my purse to get my phone out to see if I could, zoom in on it.
Hmm.
And I reached in, I think, again, this is not completely in my head. I must have dropped my phone. I go to pick it up and I pushed record so that I could make a video. And just as I go to face this being, this tree, I seen the flash of black as it walked into the woods. So I have no idea that if that was a Bigfoot. I know for a fact it wasn't a bear, and I know for a fact it wasn't a garbage bag,
Hmm.
but it was just some. I don't know. I don't know if that's what it was. If it could have been a man in a black tracksuit for all I know.
Hmm.
But I have my feelings about that.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
it was right in that same time that Mike was telling me about this girlfriend having this Bigfoot came out of the woods and walked right up to her back door. And she was making a sandwich and she turned and faced him. And he looked right in at her. And then he turned around and walked away. And she's screaming for her dad because she was just a teenager. And yeah, so that was kind of a validation that there was something in that area like many moons ago.
Hmm.
Maybe it was still there. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
one
yeah.
thing I want to touch on, when you mentioned that you heard a story and it brought to light what you saw, your brain has a really amazing way of protecting yourself by suppressing
Mhm.
things that you don't know how to explain. And I think that's kind of what happened to you.
That's possible.
Yeah, and also with Mike Patterson, he was on, I streamed, was it last June or July? He was on
Mhm.
one of my first interviews that I did.
Nice.
And yeah, and they were sitting in the woods at the time. It was him and Rich. Rich was another guy that I actually told one of his encounter stories on my channel. And
Mhm.
yeah, so he would go out and do these canoeing trips for like a week where he'd just go up and down a river. And he's
Oh
had
my
some,
gosh.
yeah, exactly. He's had some pretty interesting things happen to him. But so
Nice.
yeah, so the two of them were on the stream and they're sitting outside and you can barely see them because it's dark. And
Right.
they told me afterwards that the whole time they can hear them walking around them as we were talking. So because
Wow.
they
Right.
had my voice on a like a stereo system, a
Mhm.
speaker system. So yeah, so that was kind of interesting. Um,
They were curious what was going on.
yeah, for sure, for sure. There's a few more
Neat.
people that have come in. Just let me say
Cool.
hi to Brenda. I already said hi to Brenda, actually. There was somebody else I saw that popped in. Toby McKinney.
Mhm.
Welcome, welcome. Thought I saw one more name in here. CWL, welcome. Yeah, let's
Bruna.
carry on. Let's carry on.
Yeah.
So where were we? So you've actually had two, possibly three encounters.
Yeah.
And it
Definitely one.
and it sounds like you've done quite a bit of moving around. So
Yeah.
you were obviously born in the States, right?
No, actually, I was born in Ontario,
Oh,
and
okay.
then went to the States when I was a year old,
Mhm.
and then came back to British Columbia when I was around 12, and then back to Ontario, then back to British Columbia. I lived in the boondocks, way out in the woods, and then back to Ontario.
Yeah. Wow, you're a traveler.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, busy, busy.
yeah, I know I've been to BC a couple times. It's a pretty nifty place. A lot of nature just kind of engulfs the city. So it's pretty
Yeah.
wild in that sense.
Too bad we can't live on scenery, eh?
Yeah, I know, I know. But you know
Yeah.
what? When you think about it, Ontario's not that bad. You can drive about 45 minutes or so, at least from where I'm at, because I'm in the city.
Mhm.
I could drive
Yeah.
45 minutes north, and then you're in it. You're in the
Yeah.
wilderness, you know? So
You know,
it's
when I
go ahead.
it's I when I lived, sorry about that. When I lived up there before the fire, I would sometimes, and this sounds so ridiculous, but I would be so enthralled with the beauty. Like, just, I really did believe that I lived on God's doorstep, because there it was the most beautiful place in the world. Like, I always thought British Columbia, in the rainforests and all that, it doesn't get any nicer than that until I moved north in Ontario. Man, it is so, and especially at this time of the year, the trees are just on fire. They're just gorgeous. I loved it up there.
Well, it sounds like it. You said it was Bradford that you were living in
No,
previously?
Minden,
Oh,
Halliburton,
Minden.
Minden area.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a pretty nice place to be. I've been cottaging out that ways before. So
Yeah,
let's get back to Bigfoot. So, do you believe that Bigfoot is flesh and blood, or do you think it's something else, or a combination
definitely.
of? Definitely.
Definitely flesh and blood. I do not believe that they are Nephilim. I definitely believe they are close to being human, like almost all human. I think that somewhere along the evolution trail, we went one way and they went the other. And they just didn't evolve past where they are now. So, because if you look at, the charts.
Hmm.
The Bigfoot that I saw is a little bit more evolved than the one that, the Patty
Okay.
Bigfoot. That's what I think. And I wanted to also point out another reason why I was so validated by what I saw was because, again, back to Mike Patterson, he showed a bunch of pictures that the Bigfoot, Nephitia, that's what his name is, Nephitia. He took their camera and he took a bunch of pictures one day.
I saw that.
On one of Yeah, and on one of those pictures was the exact duplicate of what I saw.
Oh,
So
really?
I believe, yeah, it was definitely a juvenile. And the funny thing was, nobody else could see that. Like, they did when I pointed it out, but nobody saw it. And you can clearly see this little juvenile peeking out from behind the branches. Like, you could see its whole upper body, like upper chest and head, clear as day. Once you noticed it, you can't unnotice it. It is right there in your face.
Hmm.
And it was exactly what I saw that day in Florida.
So you said it didn't have any hair on its face, if I recall.
Yeah,
Did
none.
it have any whites in around the eyes, or was it just pretty? Was it hard to tell any whites in the eye?
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
And so I don't know if you watch Think or Thunker, but he has this sort of metric way of
Yes,
looking
the
at
measurements.
yeah, the measurements exactly. So
Yeah.
was it like that where the eyes are a little bit further apart and the nose is a little bit higher than ours, like, or was it more human? I mean, they do look sort of human, but
Yeah.
I guess was the measurements off a bit, or was it similar to us?
Um,
This little the boy that you saw.
yeah, you know what? I can't tell you. I don't
You
remember
don't
that.
remember? Yeah, I guess so. I
No,
mean, that was such a long time ago. But
I
yeah.
do remember he had a flat, like a flat note, like it was human,
Mhm.
but it was more flat and he had very wide nostrils.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say it, and I don't mean any disrespect at all.
Mhm.
But he looked a lot like a Sri Lankan um, young man, about 11 or 12 years old.
Okay.
You
And
know, he had that really the dark skin,
mm-hmm.
but it had a like a powdery. I don't. It's hard to describe, but the hair was so like thick and bushy. Um, but I don't remember the facial details, just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the color of his skin mainly.
And did you get any sort of did you get scared or were you just in awe? Like what was your
I just was curious, like, why is this guy standing in the ditch in a really dangerous place? Like, you know, there's rattlesnakes, there's alligators, there's water moccasins, everything.
mm-hmm.
And it's not something that you do, you know,
Yeah.
standing in a ditch.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned previously that you wrote a book.
Yeah.
Was your book on the subject of Bigfoot or
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
okay? And
Yeah.
so, did you write just one? Did you write two?
Actually, this is heartbreaking. I had
Why?
the one is actually on my channel. The first one that I did is on the channel. I read it
Okay.
on the channel.
Okay.
But this second one, which is 100 times better than the first one, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
I was just finishing it. I had just finished editing it the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to go back and do the second edit. And I had started a third book. And this was all saved on Microsoft. A lot of it, some of it was also saved on an external hard drive
Mm-hmm.
until the fire. And
Oh no.
I, I know I paid for my membership or my subscription to Microsoft.
Right.
And so I wasn't worried when I got settled finally, like when I got here with this computer, because I was in the hotel for a while. I contacted Microsoft because I couldn't find any of my files, and they're nowhere. They I don't know why they weren't saved,
Yeah,
but
that's weird. It should probably be in the cloud. Like a lot of their
yeah,
stuff is saved on the
no.
cloud.
Yeah, and I saved it all over the place because my daughter was irritated. She's like, "Mom, how many copies of this stupid book do you need?" And it was like, well, you never know. And plus, like I say, I'm as dumb as a stump when it comes to this stuff. So I save it here and I save it there. But none of them say, even the third book, none of that was saved. But what was saved was a bunch of useless letters that I wrote to my son's teachers, you know, back in
Wow.
the day. And, you know, you save it to, what do you call it? Um, oh my goodness, Word Perfect or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
All that was saved, and then my external hard drives didn't survive. They melted. My computer melted. Everything melted.
Wow.
Hmm.
I have a little message here. It says her book is fantastic. This is Kim Teague. She also says,
Thanks, Kim.
wish you would do a second on that family. So, was this book based on your encounter or was it
No,
a fictional book?
it was fiction.
Okay.
It was fiction, yeah.
And what's
And the
what's the
second book,
sorry,
oh, sorry,
what's the title of your book?
Primal Revenge.
Primal Revenge?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm writing that down because I'm gonna go buy it.
Oh, okay. So you can't get a hard copy because I just did it like what do you call it? Not the Audible, the Kindle.
Okay, that's
So you
fine.
have
Yeah,
to,
I can
yeah,
still get
yes,
it.
yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
on there.
All right, that's pretty cool. And so you wrote a second and you started a third.
Yeah. So the second one has a couple of the characters from the first book. Okay, I'll tell you. It was the detective in the first book
Mm-hmm.
is one of the main characters in the second book.
Okay.
And also, oh my gosh, I'm going to maybe get into trouble because I didn't know this, but there's a lot of controversy. Um, not Thinker Thunker. Who's the other one that does the werewolves?
I'm not sure.
Uh, I'm not werewolves. Dogman Encounters.
I'm not
I
sure.
forget his name. Anyways, I had actually fashioned a character after him,
Okay.
and yeah. So, anyways, it was kind of this. It was like a takeoff of the first book, and
Mm,
it was pulled together by the detective John
okay.
Lewis. Yeah,
That sounds pretty
I'll redo it
interesting.
again.
So
Yeah.
why, sorry, you said it was kind of controversial. Why would you say it was controversial?
Oh, well, I didn't know it, but I guess there's some, some of the people on here, they don't get along with one another.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, so there's some craziness going on that I wasn't aware of. I
Yeah.
actually had somebody say you should change his name.
Okay.
And I'm like, why? And anyways, it's ridiculous. I don't want to get involved.
Yeah, no, I have to say that's one thing that I noticed when I started the channel as well. But even prior to that, I always watched Bigfoot stuff like Bigfoot channels. And you would hear some people saying that, they don't want to get involved with going to shows and stuff like that because of the hate.
Hmm.
And I'm like, hate? Why would there be hate?
Yeah.
You guys are all talking about the same thing. But
Oh,
as
it's ridiculous.
I know, but as I started watching more and more, it's like, oh wow, like what's going on here? Why is this person bad mouthing this person? Like it just doesn't make any sense. Like you're both
Yeah,
out there seeking the same thing, believing in the
yeah,
same thing, and I don't know. Call me crazy,
yeah.
but it's
I think everybody wants to one up the other ones. And except in what we do, the narrating,
mhm.
I think there's nothing but a bunch of really good people that narrate these stories. And there doesn't need to be any backbiting. Like you and I were talking about yesterday, there doesn't need to be any backbiting because there's so much room
Mhm.
for, like I don't expect my subscribers to catch every single one of my videos, but I
Mhm.
think it's really cool when I go to camp like Dixie Cryptid or Buckeye Bigfoot and I see all my subscribers over there as well. And that I love that. I think that's amazing. And I think that there's plenty of room
Yeah, I agree.
for what we do, right?
Yeah, I
And I think we should help each other.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Leslie, Diane is asking, Leslie, did you become obsessed after your sighting to see one again, or wanted to know more?
Oh, no, it was a long time later. I was, I would say probably 30, late 30s
Mhm.
when I started going into the woods, and that's when stuff was starting to come into my mind.
Mhm.
And that's, I think, when I realized that what the heck, that really did happen. I started writing my book, and then it all kind of came together. My dad's friend, or my mom and dad's friend, contacted me. She got a copy of my book, and she contacted me and said, "How did you know? How did you get interested in this?" And I told her because this happened when I was a kid, and yeah, so kind of all happened at the same time. And then I just would say I had a Rottweiler at the time, and I called her my Squatch dog. And I'd say, "Come on, look, let's go squatching." And she was so happy. We'd go in the woods, and it was just a really good way for me to just kind of tune out, like
Mhm.
get away from the house and the kids, have to take my dog. And I I was surprised, but even in the woods, you could see the trees that are bent over and the little structures and stuff, even in Brantford.
Mhm.
Uh, it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
And then my
I
son had his
go. Uh,
thing, and sorry.
no, no, no. Finish off. Finish off.
Well, one night, this was about a year before I lost my son. He was always in the woods, and he used to think that Bigfoot stuff was crazy. And he said, I can understand a Bigfoot, but I can't understand a Bigfoot that goes through portals to other, he'd make fun of me all the time. Anyways, this one day I was at home, I had my granddaughter with me, and my son calls me and it's dark. He's out of breath and he's scared to death. And he's like, Mom, I'm in the woods. Something is walking circles around me and I'm lost. I've only got a few minutes on my phone. My flashlight's dead. I said, okay, stop. I'll drive to where I dropped you off and I'll hammer on the horn.
I
And you
just had
just
a
walked
deja
away.
vu.
Oh, did that happen to you?
No, I've heard you say this before, but I
Oh,
haven't. This is the first time. Have you ever talked about this on your channel?
yes, my 500 episodes. I
Okay, so
did.
maybe that's why it was a deja vu because I heard it from
Oh,
there.
there you go. There you go. Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, hey, we always have to support each other. But anyway, sorry.
Yep,
So you honked on
that's
your
okay.
horn to let him know that you were there?
Yes. So here's the thing. My granddaughter at the time was 7. Her name is Elizabeth. She was in the back, the way back of the van. And I finally seen my son walking up the road towards the van. So I go to meet him. He was a mess. He was scratched all up, sweating profusely. And he was scared. He didn't know what, because we don't have predators here. Like, we don't
Mm-hmm.
have bears or anything like that. I mean, up north you do. Up north we had wool, we had everything, right? But
Mm-hmm.
anyways, so I got home and I actually was texting. See, I have the worst memory for names.
I'm the
For
same.
yeah, for Dogman Encounters. I was texting him back and I told him what happened with my son. And he said, I would love to hear from your son because that sounds like he had a Dogman encounter.
Oh, okay.
So, but then I was tucking my granddaughter in for to go to bed, and she said, "Grandma, I saw a monster." And I said, "What?" And she said, when you were waiting for Uncle Brian to walk to the car, I saw a big, and we never talk about Bigfoot in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my son didn't want her getting scared of that kind of thing. So she said, it was something staring in the back window at me, and it had big red eyes. And I don't remember all the details she said now, but she basically described a Bigfoot. And I'm like, well, why didn't you say anything? And she said, because you were driving to meet Uncle Brian.
Oh,
And
wow.
she never put two and two together that this could have been what
He was
was
seeing.
scaring Uncle Brian.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Tony
yeah.
says maybe the name you're thinking of is Jeff Nadolny.
No,
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 okay. All right.
no.
All right. I'm
He
hey,
doesn't like me
that's
very much.
oh really?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
oh wow,
Uh,
okay.
yeah. You want to know why?
Hold that thought for just a minute. Kim
Okay.
says, Leslie, I have to ask how we feel about hearing about your personal life. I love it, so don't stop telling us things. It makes us
Aw,
feel like we're part of your life and we feel like a close friend.
thank you. That's very sweet. That's very, very sweet. I appreciate that.
Chris says their narrators are awesome, but it's the
Oh,
researches that peeve me off to no end.
yeah. Yeah. They own the Bigfoot world, I think. That's what they think.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, okay, so go ahead now and share. Uh, Josh Turner, is that the name?
No,
Okay,
okay.
people, they're trying to help you out
Dogman.
here.
Yeah, it's Dogman Encounter Radio or something like that. And he also has Bigfoot channel too. I
Okay,
think he's an amazing guy, but
Bruna. Bruna?
Bruna's a sweetheart. She's from my channel too.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
see
okay.
Bruna Mar. Okay, sorry. I just I'm reading this all backwards here. Anyways, yeah. So
Oh,
you were gonna.
okay. So as my followers know, I have oh yeah, Vic Condiff, that's who it is. Sweet, sweet guy. I really like him. But anyways, so I have a friend who helps me out along with the channel, uh, TJ Neely, and he's also an author and a pilot and a colonel in the army, and
Wow.
he's amazing, and he gives me a lot of Bigfoot stuff. So um, one day he had become friends with that other channel, and they went back and forth, and Jeff, I guess, gave TJ some information for his book. So TJ told me some information because I was doing a thing on European dogmen. Well, the next thing you know, I get hit by, I don't even know, 5 or 6 people in the comments section telling me that I stole the information from this other channel, and I didn't, no way, I didn't steal it. And then the fella from that channel basically told me I should take it down. It wasn't my information to use. And I apologized, but I said it was given to me by someone that it's in his book, for God's sakes. So, anyways, we just sort of cut ties at that point, and I never would steal from any channel, and I took a lot of offense by it. Was I didn't know if he sent those people over, but they sure jumped on me quick, and so now I'm pretty careful what I do, as we were talking about,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
we did have a little discussion yesterday just to, get to know each other because this was actually the first time that I've spoken to Leslie. And
yeah.
I'm hoping it won't be the last. Sabe
Oh,
Quebec
thank you.
says, I'm the one behind a 171 episode. Would really like to thank Ontario Cryptids for posting my story. You are so
Oh,
welcome. Yeah, that was a little bit of an unusual one as well.
I have to go back and listen to that.
Yeah, and then we have Tim says, think you're talking about Vic from San Francisco, California.
It might
Um,
be. Yeah. Vic kind of.
and I think, yeah. And then there was another, and I think I missed another question here
Hmm.
up above here. Let me see here. I guess that's all the questions that we have so far. If you guys want to just start pouring the questions in, if you have any questions you want to ask, go ahead. Awanda has one for you. Leslie, are you from Brantford?
Yes.
Yeah, she says she's from Brantford as well.
We call it the armpit of Ontario.
Why is that?
Oh, I just, I think that it was really hit hard by COVID.
Okay.
And yeah, I think the government needs to spend a little bit money on our town because it's not the place it was a couple of years ago. Yeah. Imagine it's like that in every town, you know.
Mm-hmm. Um, Now you were mentioning about your walks that you started doing when you were in your 30s. What are some of your
Mhm.
your hiking spots here in Ontario?
Well, as I said, near Mohawk Park, and I would
Where's
drive some.
where's Mohawk
Sorry.
Park?
Um, it's actually in the southern portion of Brantford, I think,
Oh,
closer
okay.
to, yeah. If you take the 403 to Brantford, it's like you can't miss it. It's the biggest park here, eh? So, um,
I'm looking it
well, you
up
have
right
to
now.
come. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
have to go for coffee, and I'll take you there. But I just everywhere. Like I would go fishing. My husband and we love to fish, and we would go up to different places in northern Ontario. And I love Temiskaming and Timmins, like really northern. Well, it's not. There's a lot more further north than that, but um, I love being up there. I love the woods, the mosquitoes. I love all of that.
Excuse me? Did you say you
But
like the mosquitoes?
oh, I used to. I didn't mind. They never bothered me until just when I moved up to Halliburton and Minden, and then it was like, holy crap, my blood is made of sugar because these things won't leave me alone. And yeah, but before that, they never bothered me. So
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm taking a look. Can I share this with you guys? Let me see how I can share this with you. There you are. Look at that. You see, we're starting to get a little bit more techy here. Here, let me get this a little bit
Yeah.
bigger here.
Hmm.
So this is Mohawk Park.
That's, yeah, Mohawk Lake. Yep.
I don't think I've ever been up here. Um,
Yeah.
so Brantford, that's not a big park. So you used to go hiking up
No.
here?
Yeah. And then, okay, see over, okay, so to the right, to
Uh-huh.
my right on here,
So
that's
y-
close to
so
the
you're
Six
right.
Nations. Yeah. Like where it's really green.
Yeah,
The green
okay.
part.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
right here. Yep.
nations. Um, and I go up in there. Like it's amazing to like look how beautiful that is. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like still so much of the city, eh?
Yeah. You know what though? I
Yeah.
have to say when I was on last month with Angie, I think she was a little bit blown away by how green Ontario is.
Oh, yeah, exactly, eh?
Like, I want you guys to take a look at this. So, I'm here in Toronto. Brantford is up in this region here. But if you
Hmm.
go like just a tiny bit north, look at this. This is
Yeah,
nothing but wilderness. Look,
yeah,
all this here.
yeah.
Trees, 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 and trees. So, where I like to go for a hike, I'm sure you heard of uh, Tobermory has the Bruce Trail
Yeah,
that goes from top to bottom. So
yeah.
here's Tobermory here. And
Hmm.
so there's a path. It's also kind of on a ridge that comes down and meanders through here. And you can kind of see the
Hmm.
patches here from this height. And it comes all the way down and goes to Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Now, this patch has different conservation areas along the way. So there's got to be a good 10, 20 of them all the way up until you get up to Tobermory. One of my favorite spots to go to is just north of Caledon. It is called Silver Creek. Let me see if I can find it here. There's the
Hmm.
forks of the river. Um, it's down here. It's not north, it's south. So here's some of the patches that I walk through. So I usually come up this road here, and once you're here, like I said, you're kind of elevated, so you're up high. So I can see the city, like you can see the CN Tower and everything from up here. Um, Anyways, so you can come up here and you can take there's like 3 or 4 trails. There's a 2 point something kilometer trail that comes through here, and this is where I've had my experiences is through this part here. And recently, I've been hiking the south part, and that's a little bit more strenuous because there's a lot of up and downs, so you really have to watch your footing. But it is amazing through here. Like it's crazy, like this neck of the woods here, and it hooks up to Terracotta. So if you keep on going, and people have done this, people have done the trail all the way from Niagara Falls all the way up to the Bruce, and so they'll just camp along the way. But it's really cool. It's a really neat place to go to. I've
Yeah.
also been up to Monocliff. I don't know if you've been. Monocliff is just a
Mm.
little bit
Never heard of
north.
that. Yeah.
It's just up. I can't see it, but it's right up here near Orangeville. Where's Orangeville from here? There's Caledon. There it is. There's Mono Center. There's Monocliff Provincial Park. So this is all part of the Bruce.
Yeah.
So it
Nice.
it just continues and goes north. So I try to hit a different spot all the time. I think
Hmm.
my next spot I want to go to is a place called Luther Marsh. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
No.
It's right here. It's this spot right here, this big lake, and there's a trail that goes all along it in like it looks like it's in a wooded area.
Hmm.
So yeah. Anyways, okay. So you've mentioned Mohawk Park. What are some of the other places that you've hiked at?
Um, just really what I do is I just drive until I see a spot that I really like. So without giving you exact addresses, there's a because I don't know, but if you take I forget even the name of the roads, but anyways, I take the back roads all the time. And I had my little favorite spot that I would love to go to. It was up over top of the Grand River. And so I would go in and I would hike in there for hours at a time. And then I had an experience up there too with something really weird that I don't know if it was a dog man or if it was just a really, really big, it was bigger than a wolf. It was a huge dog. The back of it would have come higher than like if you drive a regular sedan type car.
Mm-hmm.
This dog, its head was well over the hood, but its shoulders also would have come right up to that hood. It was a big dog. And I used to, like I said, I used always go up there and I loved the way there was some cornfields on the side, and I loved the way the farmer had planted the rows of corn. It was
Mm-hmm.
really different. So I can remember one night I was driving there, I was coming home, and I was on the phone to my husband, like through the radio, and all of a sudden I screamed bloody murder. I had to slam on the brakes. I saw this dog, and it was pure black. And the next day I was, what the heck was that? Anyways, so the next day I went back there and I pulled over to the side of the road and I could see. Well, I took pictures of the cornfields because I wanted to show my husband like the effort that this farmer had made. It was like they were done on the diagonal.
Mm-hmm.
So I took some pictures and I noticed something that didn't I couldn't put my finger on it, but it didn't look right. So anyways, when I went home, I started really looking at these pictures. And the one thing that I saw that I couldn't quite make out what I was looking at, I started to see a face, like not a human face, but a dog face. And this other thing, none of it looked like it belonged there. So I took the pictures and I sent them to, here is another name, Blaine Tyler, who's he researches Bigfoot as well. You know him?
Mm-mm.
Or you just
It's
got a smile on your face?
Yeah, no, I'm smiling because I don't know half of these people that you're mentioning. I
Mm.
guess some of the names that I know is Timber Giant, but he's
Oh, I
not.
love him.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
him as well. Like obviously Mike
yeah.
Patterson, I watch Mike, Bigfoot
Hmm.
Gary. Um, then I used to watch a bunch of American researchers.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time these days. We kind of talked about that yesterday, but um, Colorado Bigfoot is one of the guys I would watch. There was this one guy I really, really liked, but he went through hell. He was
Oh,
addicted to some painkillers and kind
no.
of lost his way. And
Oh,
he stopped doing his YouTube channel because the other researchers were just cut him up. They would just
oh,
call him a liar and saying
oh,
that
I hate
he's,
that.
yeah, seeking attention. So he took his YouTube channel down, which was really sad. There's another fellow in Arizona that I used to watch as well. What's his name? I can't think of his name, but when it comes to me, I'll let you know. But yeah, I guess I'm not. I don't know a lot of the researchers, I suppose. Um, I don't know, because you're mentioning some names that I do not know. I know of Cam. I've seen
Yeah,
his channel. Like who hasn't? But
yeah, exactly.
but
Well, Blaine has the Bigfoot barn, I think it's called. He's got a couple different ones, but he said to me, you need to go back and take the same pictures in the same spot.
yeah.
and then look at them when you, so I did that. And when I got home, the one thing that I couldn't quite make out, I will admit, was a post, like a fence post.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing that I thought I saw a face, the black face,
Hmm.
it wasn't there. So I'm pretty sure that that black face was the dog that I almost hit the night before. And then
Oh,
is this, see, this is the weird thing because right after that, I start getting stories about black dogs. Have
weird,
you ever
eh?
gotten, have you ever heard about the black dog phenomenon?
No.
Yeah, it's quite weird. Yeah, like I've received a few stories. They're kind of out there, but yeah, interesting enough. But so I often wondered what the heck that was. What did I see that night?
Yeah,
But
I have
yeah.
like I think like I said to you yesterday, I think the dogman cryptid side of things is
Hmm.
one that I can't seem to find a lot of stories about
No.
that are actual encounters, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's hard to come by the dogman. I don't like I I- it's hard to picture a dog on a sort of like a is like a person's body. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like they're still furry and everything, but then they have the shape of a human.
Yeah.
I've never come across anything like that. Um, and hopefully I never will. Like my biggest thing is not to ever see one.
Hmm.
I've heard their audibles, but not
What's an
never
audible?
like
What does
whoops.
that mean?
Whoops.
Oh,
So
whoops.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, oh yeah, like they, you know,
oh,
they whooped. So my thing happened at Silver Creek where I showed you there.
yeah.
It's a beautiful spot to walk, and I was taking my family members, my nephew and his fiance at the time, on a hike because they knew I was into Bigfoot. It was around the time I got serious. And when people get into Bigfoot, they start doing a lot of research and you just want to
Yeah.
share it to the world, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
what happens is you kind of get slapped down by everybody because they're always saying,
Yeah.
they don't exist. You're silly, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
So, but I never backed down. So my family always kind of laughed at me and stuff. But so one day my nephew says to me, hey, I want to go. Why don't you show me the arches and stuff that you're talking about, the tree breaks? And so I'll go with you. So we went and it was in May. Brought my two dogs with me, and it's kind of a steep because you have to climb up the Canadian Shield. Like it's all
Hmm.
rocky up there, and there's a lot of
Hmm.
cave systems down there. I think what people don't realize is Ontario has a lot of underground cave systems.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that would be an excellent spot for them to hide or live, right?
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah.
But in any case, so we're walking up, and every time I hike, I always bring my camera, I bring my camcorder, and I have my phone. Like I'm all geared up. And for some reason, my son didn't come with us that day, so it was just the three of us and my two dogs. And I had them on one of those body harnesses that it has two leashes that go out, because I'm trying to keep my hands as free as possible, so I can have a phone and a camera going at the same time. Well, I wasn't very successful. So we get up to this one spot that's kind of like a lookout area, and you can
Hmm.
see down into a gorge, and the creek runs through. It's actually very beautiful. So they're standing there looking over this gorge, and I'm sort of just waiting for them because I've hiked this trail so many times. So it's not new to me. You know what I mean? So I'm
Hmm.
just standing there with the dogs. I'm holding on to them, and Max starts to act up. He starts to whine.
Hmm.
And that's when I heard this whoop, whoop sound. And I
Oh my
look
God.
and I look over towards the sound and I look at my nephew and his fiance, and they're not faced, so they didn't hear it. And I look back, my dog's whining. I look over, and in May here, like as you know, there's no leaves on the trees yet. Stuff is just starting to
Hmm.
come back, and it's so
Yeah.
thick with brush and stuff that you can't even see through it, even though there's no leaves there. So I'm
Hmm.
peering through, trying to see what the heck made that whoop, and I couldn't see anything, so I let it go. I decided not to tell my nephew, because I thought as soon as I told them, they're going to say, "Oh yeah, Auntie Vanka, yeah, you know what I mean, like you're making it up type thing." So I didn't say a word. We kept on walking, and Ola, who's his fiance, said, "Vanka, look." So I looked down, and there was a partial footprint right in the mud. As you know, here is in May, it's really wet and
Mhm.
mucky and stuff. So there was a partial footprint. Do you think I took a picture of that?
Oh my gosh.
No, I did not. Why?
Mhm.
I have no idea. Anyway, so we keep on walking. Like I said, this loop that I used to do is like a 2.2K walk. And near the end, you come down. So it's you climb up and you're hiking on like the top section of the ridge. And as you loop to come back, you start to go back downhill. And when you get down just before the end, you're kind of in a bowl. It's a really neat area and there's a pond there. So Calvin and I go and we're standing on the boardwalk and we're just looking around. There's like ducks and stuff. And I was pointing out to him that you can see little cave system along the edge of the pond.
Wow.
And as we did that, we hear a whoop. And this
Oh
time
my
he
gosh.
hears it. And he looks at me. He goes, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Yeah, I heard that." We turned and we looked at his fiance, but she was standing off in the distance with the dogs because I
Mhm.
didn't want the dogs to come on the boardwalk because they like to jump into the pond. And then I'm going to have two wet dogs in my car going home. So I said, uh-uh. So she held on to them. And just as we're looking at each other, we hear a thud. So it sounded like something was thrown at a tree trunk and it fell and
Mhm.
hit the ground. So we all turned and looked, but we couldn't see anything. And so that was my first audible encounter, and it was at Silver Creek. Um,
Wow, eh?
yeah, it's pretty awesome. And to this day, I've always said I don't want to see one. Um, because I don't know how I would react seeing one, like you don't
Yeah.
know until you physically go through something like that. I know a lot of people, they've either been good with it and they become more curious about the whole, Sabe world,
Yeah.
or they become almost traumatized by it. So I don't know. I don't think I would go on down the traumatized way, but who knows, right? You never know.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm sorry.
no,
Sorry,
no,
go
no,
ahead.
no, no. You go ahead. I was just gonna say I just rather not see one.
I hear ya. Well, I think that whoever named it, and everybody that follows me knows this is just such a source of irritation for me, because I think that calling it a dog man is a disservice to what it is.
Yeah.
Like I do believe they exist, and um, I actually know people that have had sightings,
Hmm.
and they are so terrifying to look at that it's almost a joke to call it a dog man. It deserves a name that, can explain, I don't know, maybe not explain, but that suits it more. Actually, I had a guy, I said this as a joke on my channel about a month ago. And I had a guy send me emails one after the other. He ripped strip after strip out off of me, telling me how ridiculous it is to think that I have the power to rename a dog man. And I'm like, no, you misunderstood. I didn't say that we needed to rename it. I just said it was a silly name.
Hmm.
And then he went after me, and I started to get a little pissed off at him, excuse my language. And then it went back and forth. I did block him, but I've only blocked 3 people in 3 years. Like that's nothing compared to other channels. So that should show you I have just the greatest people on my channel. But yeah, I just think it's just a stupid name and it deserves more respect for sure.
Yeah. I wonder what
Anyways,
the
that was
what the
it.
That's okay. You can have your little rant there. I'll let you have that.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Thank you.
the same thing like Bigfoot. I was never a fan of the name Bigfoot. I think it is a
No,
disservice to them. I
I
prefer
agree. Yeah.
Sasquatch myself, or
Yeah.
Sabe, or some of the
Yeah.
other names that they have out there for them. But I'm curious what the indigenous folks a would call them.
I
Um,
think that they just basically it falls under skinwalker, right?
I don't know. I have no idea. I
I
don't
don't
know what
know.
they would call
Yeah.
them. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's pretty wild. We have a question here. Can Bigfoot tag you?
Um, I don't know. I've heard they can, and that if you know one, you know them all.
Hmm.
So I don't see why not. I think that, like I said, well, I didn't say it here, but I think they are a superior being to some degree, and and if it's true that they are otherworldly, then maybe they can. Maybe it is true. If you're known by one, you're known by them all.
Yeah,
But
according to um, Mike, they do tag you because they followed him home. He's often
that's right.
talked
He
about
did.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
guess that's one of the main reasons I physically don't want to see one. But I'll tell you one thing that I do every time I go on a hike. I the moment we get out of the car, and I don't necessarily say it out loud, but I say it internally. I thank them for allowing me to walk on their property.
Mhm.
So I always do that. It's just I don't know. It's just something I do.
Yeah.
Uh, just to be considerate. I know if I were to ever tell somebody that I was hiking with, they probably think I'm a lunatic. But hey, it's you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
yeah, and back to my family, they now have more of a belief in Sasquatch than they did before, and they don't ridicule me like they used to. In fact, even my brother sent me a picture. It was of the red Sasquatch that was crossing the river. It looked like it
Mhm.
was carrying a deer. I don't know if you remember seeing that photo. It was two guys fishing in a boat somewhere in the States. Can't remember
Oh yeah, I
where.
did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did.
So he actually
Yeah.
sent that to me and said, "Hey, you may want to cover this on your channel."
Aw,
But
yeah, that's
yeah,
nice. Yeah, it's like the world just opened up for them. That's
exactly.
cute.
Yeah.
Have you seen that the new Bigfoot? They've got this big thing. Mainstream media's putting it out all over the place. This couple, they were on a train and
Yeah. Fake.
they got the Bigfoot off to the side.
Yeah, it's very fake. I covered
I
that.
thought it was fake too.
Yeah.
Everybody else says it's real. I don't think so.
No, you can see the pant leg in the thing.
I agree. Yeah, it's too wobbly.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but what Bigfoot is gonna turn around and face you for one thing? If you've
Yeah.
of all the stories I've ever read, they rather not look at you at all. They rather turn
No.
away so you can't see
Yeah.
them, and they
Yeah.
camouflage better. Um, and yeah, they just basically wait for you to go by them, and then they'll continue on. But they're not gonna sit there so right in the open
Yeah.
so you can, you know. Anyways, I don't
Yeah.
think that's real at all. I have a
Me
couple
neither.
questions here for you.
Sure.
Leslie, when you go hiking, do you carry protection? I'll let you answer that because I know your answer.
No, because we can't. But
Exactly.
I haven't been hiking in a long time because I've got my knee is really, really bad.
Oh,
But if I could carry protection, I would. But I just think that's silly, especially if you have the privilege of having that right, then you should. But yeah, up here we're not allowed to have weapons of that. Even I do know now, but when I was going for walks up north, bear spray apparently was illegal for a while there to have.
really?
So I know they sell it now at some of these big stores in the northern part of Ontario. I don't know if they sell it down here, but yeah, silliness, eh?
I wonder why,
Like,
because that's one of
yeah,
the first things they would tell you to have when you're hiking. at least
Yeah.
further north, is to have bear spray. That's
Well,
interesting.
you know, it's because people would use it as mace, like,
Oh,
for,
okay. All right.
yeah. God forbid, that would be the worst thing to be able to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't get me started.
I know.
I hate this government, but anyways, just it's just we have no rights. All of our rights have been stripped from us. We can't speak freely like in the States. You guys, First and Second Amendments. We don't have any of that up
Yeah.
here. We're not allowed to say a darn thing if it doesn't suit the almighty, man up there in
Mm-hmm.
Ottawa. Anyways,
Yeah, so the answer is no to that one.
yeah.
Toby says Bigfoot and Dogman can tag you. More sightings after the tag. Well, I think that's the interesting thing, and I think I've asked just about everybody that I've had on here. But
Hmm.
you physically have seen them. Have you had any other sort of unnatural events
Oh.
happen to you?
Oh my God, it's ongoing. Since I was, uh, gosh, 16, 17. It's been continuous. I've had a lot of experience with the supernatural. Yeah. More so than the Bigfoot stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't had anything in this house. I had stuff at the other house where the fire was,
Okay.
but nothing here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess we haven't really talked about that on the stream.
Hmm.
You had a misfortune a couple of months back with
Yeah.
your place that you were living at. Um,
Yeah.
but interesting that you think you've also had some spirits or entities living there with you.
Yeah. Everywhere I go, I've had more negative than good.
Oh,
Like, yeah,
so do you
yeah, I
think
don't
they were
know.
already there, or do you think they're following you around?
Well, I think that I was stupid as a teenager and I got involved in stuff that I shouldn't have gotten involved in. And it's just basically followed me ever since then. I went to I was hired to manage a business up in North Bay.
Hmm.
And I was so bored. I was living in a hotel room, and I had a lot of employees that worked for NORAD, which is like Canada's big
I've heard of NORAD.
army base.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so I had a lot of those guys working for me just to make a few extra bucks. And this one guy said, "What do you do? It's Friday night. What are you doing after work?" I said, "Nothing." He said, "You want to come over for drinks?" And so a few people from the office said, "Yeah, we'll go." So we went over there and met his wife, lovely woman, and they had a great big huge table. And he said, "Let's do a seance."
Oh
I do these
no.
seances. Oh yeah. So I said, okay. So I sat. He was at one end and his wife was at the other. It was me and this fella named Mike, and then two other people across from us that also worked for me, but I don't remember who they were. So I was a skeptic. I didn't really believe much in this stuff. And so I was peeking. We were holding hands, and I'm peeking around the room, and I am not kidding. Across from me and to the right, a little ways, kind of behind the guy doing the seance, I saw a potato masher. Okay, so do you remember they would have these things they'd hang on the wall and you'd have your potato masher and your spatula and stuff hanging off of them?
Hmm.
Like instead of sticking them in a drawer, whatever they
Yeah.
hung on the wall.
Yeah.
So I watched this potato masher lift up off the hook and come straight over towards the guy doing the seance. And then it went straight down the middle of the table and land beside the guy's wife. Of
Okay.
course, when it landed, it made this loud, like, banging noise. So we all opened our eyes. Well, my eyes were already opened. And I was speechless. I was so scared to death. Anyways, all kinds of craziness came from that night. Like the guy Mike, his grandmother died. She came through to the the guy doing the seance. And after that night, I couldn't get enough. So back then we had libraries and not computers.
Hmm.
So I went to the library and I got all these books out on supernatural, the occult, all that stuff. And I just read everything I could. Then I I didn't stay up there very much longer after that, and I came home, and all kinds of stuff started happening at the house, and like just oh my gosh, I got engaged. I took the train home from Toronto because my first husband, lived in Toronto at the time. I came home and I showed my parents my big diamond, and my dad popped some champagne, and we all had a drink, and then I had a big room in the basement, and it was always cold down there. It was in the basement, right? So one night, like I was laying in bed and I fell asleep and I woke up and I was literally choking myself with my own hands. And that shocked me. And I was sort of just laying there thinking, what the heck was that all about? And I seen my sister go into the washroom that was right outside of my door. And I must have dozed back off again for a little while. And I heard this laughter that was evil, like just the chills that I got from that was awful. So a little while later, she came out and she said, "What were you laughing at?" And I said, "I wasn't laughing. I thought that was you." And she's like, "No." And she goes, not thinking anything of it. She goes upstairs. I laid there for a few more minutes thinking, no, this isn't, I'm getting just the worst feeling. So I ran upstairs. She was on the phone with her boyfriend at the time. And I said, "Can I sleep with you?" And she's like, "Why?" And I said, "I'm scared." She said, "Yeah." So, anyways, that night, we both woke up to the bed shaking, not like the exorcist shaking, but it was shivering. Now, it could have been an earthquake. It really could have, but it went on for a long time. And my sister has no memory of that. She doesn't even remember that I slept in her bed that night. But everything that started happening, my grandmother had was like attacked by demons in that house. She came to live with us. I didn't want to stay in the basement anymore, and I moved to a room across from my sister's. It was a really big house. My sister moved out. She got married and moved out. So the bedroom downstairs was empty, and then the room that the bed shaking was empty as well. My grandmother originally, my aunt and my grandmother were going to sleep in my old bedroom because it was a really big bedroom in the basement. And their dog was terrified. He would sit on the end of my grandmother's bed with the hackles up. And so she was telling my dad that, could she move upstairs and that way it would be easier for the dog. And so he said, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Keep in mind that I'm not saying anything to anybody at this point because I didn't realize what it was. I just thought when it happened that was weird, and then I forgot about it and I moved on. Well, I remember this like it happened yesterday. I got up. I don't remember if I was back in school or not, but I got up and I always made peanut butter toast with tea. My mom and I were sitting at the table talking. We heard my grandmother yell something or whatever. I don't remember that exactly. But she came flying out of her bedroom and then ran down the hall to the bathroom. So when she came out, she said, "Didn't anybody hear me?" And we're like, "What? Why? What were you saying?" And she said, "I was yelling all night for somebody to help me." And then she said, it felt like something was sitting on my chest. And she had to go to the bathroom the whole night. And she laid there awake, could not move. And she was calling out to anybody to help her. Nobody heard her, even right before she came out of her room. So it was a my mom and I would always watch Oprah Winfrey after, like for breakfast, and so we moved our toast and tea into the living room, and my grandmother sat there. And that morning, it was about demonic possessions. And I'm sure that
On
I could
Oprah?
find that video. Oprah Winfrey, yep. She had a
Wow.
priest on it. Yeah, it was really a really good episode because let me just take a sip of water.
Speaking of water,
And
as you continue to talk, I'm going to go grab mine. I left it upstairs, so I'm actually parched. I can still
yeah,
hear you because I have my headphones on. So
okay,
keep on
okay.
going. Keep on going.
I will. Okay, so we're sitting there watching Oprah, and the first thing that they talk about is this one of the ways that Satan or demons possess you is that they will hold you down by your core, which is your chest, and the only way to stop them from doing that is by saying the Lord's Prayer. So we looked at grandma like we were horrified. Oh my God, like that is what just happened to you. And I said, Grandma, you got to say the Lord's Prayer. Well, she didn't know the Lord's Prayer. So we taught it to her. And I don't recall whether she had any more experiences. I believe she did, but I don't really know for sure. Anyways, my mother ended up admitting that she had been having problems. Something was pulling her covers like down, not off of her, but down.
Hmm.
So she had been told by a psychic that she had an old uncle that watched over her. And so she always thought it was her old uncle that was pulling the blankets down off of her face to protect her from from suffocating. I'm like, Mom, it doesn't work like that. But so she always thought it was a positive thing, but then started realizing that when it was happening to her, it was really aggressive. So, anyways, I moved out of there. I got married. And like I could go on and on and on about this. So tell me to shut up if
Mm-mm.
like if
No,
it
that's
goes
fine.
too
I,
long.
I was just going to say, um, I remember getting the Ouija board for
Oh yeah.
my, what was it? My 17th birthday.
Hmm.
And so I get it, you know, I was about to play it. Me and my friends decided, hey, we're gonna on one Saturday, we're gonna take it, we're gonna go to a field and we're gonna play it in a field because we didn't want to play it in the house because we've heard
Hmm.
that, you can bring in or let in negative energy. So, anyways, so would you believe that I never found that Ouija board again? And then years later, I don't know, we were sitting around the dining room table and somehow somebody mentions something about a Ouija board. I don't know what exactly, how it transpired. And so I said to my mom, yeah, you know what? I remember getting a Ouija board when I was 17 and I never saw it again after that. And she said, that's because I threw it out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, gone. Because in
Yeah.
Aruba, so I'm from Aruba,
Oh,
and
nice.
Aruba is the older people, they really get into seances and stuff like that, right? And
Hmm.
so instead of having a Ouija board, they have a table. And it's actually beautiful. It's stunning to see because it's carved out of a nice wooden DVD tree.
Oh,
It's a very
yeah.
heavy timber type tree. And
Hmm.
so they carve it on the tabletop, and then all the old ladies, the grandmas, would sit there and play this thing, or I wouldn't call it playing, but they would have their gatherings and, stuff there. So my mom didn't want me to have this game
Hmm.
because to her it would bring all the negative spirits and stuff into the house. So um,
I honestly think they shouldn't be able to sell them. I think that they should be
it's
taken right out of the stores.
I agree. It's not a toy. I mean,
No,
now that you
no.
know what it is, I mean, you're just
Yeah,
asking for trouble.
yeah.
Brenda says, can they pass information about you to other Bigfoot clans?
That's what the tagging part means. I really don't know. A lot of people believe they can. Like once you are known by one, you're known by them all. So you know who actually really believes that is Sasquatch USA or USA Sasquatch. His name is Dr. Johnson. He
Oh,
was oh, his story is bloody amazing. He was on the news and everything. Psychiatrist, had his own flourishing business. Him and his wife and son and daughter went to the Ohio caves, I think. I think it's Ohio, or anyways, one of those states. And they went through the caves and they were hiking back. And he had to use the bathroom. So he told his wife and kids to stay on the trail. And he went up off the trail behind a bush. As he's finishing his business, he looks down and he sees a Bigfoot staring at his family from behind a big tree trunk, and he starts to panic. He makes his way nonchalantly back to his family, and he tells his wife to take the kids and go because he is sure that this Bigfoot is going to come for them. So he was protecting his family, but I don't think his wife really understood what the heck was going on. And she just thought, like, why are you making us walk ahead of you? But, anyways, finally he whispered to her. And so when they got out of the caves or the off the trail, they told the security. Well, apparently that wasn't the first time they'd ever heard of it. So the news people got wind of it. So he went on the news and like he was sure his business was gonna crash, but it didn't. He still, does what he does, but he is um he's got a big channel, and he has several research locations way up in the mountains in I think Washington State somewhere, if
what's
I'm
his
not
name again?
mistaken. Matt Johnson, Dr. Matt Johnson, and his
Okay,
channel is it's um, either USA Sasquatch or Sasquatch USA.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, his story is really incredible. And then he did this thing. He claimed him and this other fella made this machine to open up a portal because he discovered this portal in his research location, and it's all documented. So yeah, check it out. It's very interesting.
I definitely
But
will.
yeah, yeah. So um, why did I start on that?
Because I asked you a question. I asked you, and I'm gonna keep on
Oh, the
asking them.
tagging.
Yes, I'm gonna keep on asking. Here comes another question your way. Is mind speak the same as mind read? That's from Toby.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you?
I would think it's the same thing. Um,
Yeah.
there is another one here. A lot of these folks are talking about carrying weapons, so obviously they're from the States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we cannot do that here, boys and girls.
Mm.
But I think they can read minds without speaking just by looking at the energy patterns, and that
I
is
think, yeah.
Sabe
Yeah.
Quebec. Somebody here,
Isn't it funny though?
go ahead.
Remember, like, go back 3, 4, 5, even longer, because I've been listening to this stuff for a long time. I think it ebbs and flows because it's been a long time since I've heard a story about a Bigfoot doing mind speak. But if you go back 4, 5, 6 years ago, that's all you ever heard. Same
Yeah.
thing with the red eyes, and
Well,
just a different thing.
Angie had mind speak, and that's very recent.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
there you go.
So
Yeah.
she had an interesting habitational thing where they were basically living in her backyard because she was sort of attached to a forested area
Hmm.
until I guess they decided to build up that area. So they brought in bulldozers and ripped the forest out and
Uh,
stuff.
I
But
hate that.
yeah, so she had a lot. I think I did two habituation stories for her. Very recent actually. What there's one and two, and then I think about a week after that, I had her on, and we had a chat like I am having with you right now.
Mhm.
But yeah, so she had mind speak, but I think
Mm.
it happens more than people think. I, I think sometimes they can't tell. Like it probably happens more often is what I'm trying to say. But
Mhm.
people probably can't tell that it's mind speak because they think it's themselves, their inner thoughts talking to them, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that with my experience and the stuff that I do on my channel, first of all, I get most of the people that follow me like to hear the softer side of Bigfoot. Like they don't like the violent stuff.
Mm.
But I tell it all because there are people that do like it. But I think there's a few stories that stand out to me where it is quite possible that it was mind speak, but it was the female Bigfoot that are super protective of human kids. They
I've
kind
read,
of
yeah, I've had a few of those.
yeah, yeah, and they I'm sure there is some mind speak going on there as well.
Yeah, but the child probably isn't able to convey that, so you really wouldn't
Right.
know.
That's right. But I'm just assuming because of the stuff that they're, the love that they felt coming from the Bigfoot, like several stories have said that. Several kids that are now adults said the love that they felt, it was strong. And one lady, she's in her 60s now, and she really regrets, like she had to move away. I just did this story again for the hour video I put out. Her mother took her away because their father was very abusive. And she felt and still feels so bad that she just up and left this Bigfoot. She felt that this Bigfoot was her friend and it cared a lot about her.
Mm,
And she often wonders if she were to go back now, would she find that Bigfoot, even though it was like 40 years ago. Same thing with this other one I did. Two little kids lost their mother. They didn't know their father. They lost their mother. And then they had to go stay with their father's parents. And they were distraught. They're missing their mother. And a Bigfoot kind of came and kind of saved them from their grief. And even those two ladies to this day uh, desperately want to find them. They called her their woods mom.
okay.
Now I'm going to cry. I
Don't
cry.
cry.
Oh, oh my
Listen, if
gosh,
you
you should
if
hear.
you cry, you're gonna get me
Oh,
crying. So stop it right now.
I cry. I have sometimes if a normal video it takes me whatever 2 hours to upload or 2 hours to record, but I look at these stories and I think, oh my God, it's gonna take me 6 hours. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna have to stop, reverse and let the cry out and then start again and then I choke up. I swear these guys know, oh boy, she's crying again. But I just love the stories. I think they're really heartfelt and
Hmm.
anyways, yeah.
Bruna Mara Saint Brant says at Antira Cryptis, you do that beautifully. I do the same. To all
Uh,
forest beings, I even ask for permission and explain what I'm about to do before entering. I do
that's a good thing.
actually like you. I don't say it out loud. Oh,
What's that? I do like you?
I think that's what she said. Yeah, I do actually like you.
Oh,
Okay, well, thank you
oh,
so
that's
much,
nice.
Bruna. But
Yeah,
yes, I
there you
always
go.
ask for permission when entering any sort of a trail or anything along those lines. In fact, I'm kind of on the side where I believe there's an aura, a spirit with anything that's living, trees, stuff like that. I don't know if it's ancestral, but yeah, I do believe that.
Oh,
Someone here mentioned the dogman name to be. Uh, Tsul Kalu. I don't know if I said that right, but that's what they think that the Cherokee called
Oh,
them.
Arugaloo. Yeah, that's I think the
Tsulapoo.
French, it's a French thing, I think. Or even also from Louisiana, if I'm
Yeah,
not wrong, like
I think that's
yeah, the
werewolf
French.
though. That's a Rugaloo. This one is T.
No,
Maybe I'm not saying it right. It's
wait a
T
minute.
S U L K A L U. Tsulkalu.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't see
Yeah.
that one there.
Oh, because it's delayed on the stream, so you're not going to see it
Oh,
right
okay.
away. You'll see it in a bit.
Oh, yeah, Loup-garou, but it's not pronounced. It's Loup-garou. Yeah, it's
Oh, I
French.
see. I see. Okay.
Yeah, and it's that's I think a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're
That
probably
is.
right about
Yeah.
that.
That's a werewolf.
There's a really, really good picture of a dog man out of Quebec too.
Really?
Looks like, yeah, it looks like he's holding like a white Persian cat.
What's it called? Let me see if I can look it up.
Yeah, it's a I do think they call it a Loup-garou as well, but
But
it's
you said this one was taken in Quebec.
yeah, look up Quebec dog man. Just put it in like that.
Quebec dog man. Don't worry, boys and girls. I'm going to share it when I find it. Okay, image. I see Northern American dogman sightings. Mysterious dogman hunts prey. That's a YouTube something or another. Terrifying dogman, and cat kid.
That could be it. It looks like it's looking down at it.
Okay, here. Let
And
me let me
the
check the images. Let me take a look at the images. Let me see. Is it this thing? I see something on History Channel. Speaking of Dogman, that reminds me a lot of the guy that passed away recently. What's his name again? Ah, man.
one of the guys just said that Matthew Perry just died.
Really?
How heartbreaking. Just young too.
Really? From
Yeah.
Friends?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, okay.
It's
Uh,
heartbreaking.
yeah. What did he die of?
He was a really bad junkie. Yeah, he
Oh,
struggled with
wow, okay.
alcohol,
Yeah,
drugs.
I'm about halfway up the stream because I'm trying to catch any of the questions, so I can't see what's happening down below yet. I'm getting there. Um, us two in southern. Okay, I don't know what they're talking about there. Southern Idaho. Uh, if I were to meet a Bigfoot, I would sing to it. I was not scared to death. Once, while singing at the river here, a group of dolphins came right up to the rocks and acted like they were listening. Interesting. Kim, you must be in
Yeah.
Florida, I'm guessing. Dolphins were 3 feet from me, turned away, turned to its side, and his eyes was looking right at me. It was beautiful.
Aw. I'm trying to look this up for you as well as we're talking.
Yeah, that's, let me see. I'm trying to find any other questions. Oh my Les, don't tell me you guys did Ouija. No, actually, I did not. I didn't, as you heard, I didn't have the opportunity to. Um,
Honestly, everybody in the 70s and 80s did Ouija board. Everybody. Because back then it
it
was,
was a
the
game.
cool thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
okay, I lost a few of these questions here. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back up to where I was. Um,
But to
guys,
this day, I would not have another one in my house.
yeah, no, I would not even get one ever again. So
No, no.
I'm just looking. Welcome, Patrick. Yeah, so I'm catching up. Toby says, I have a lady in Canada and she is mind speak with a dog man. She asked to see him close up. He said that you are not ready.
Oh, that's what that guy said, the European Dog Man stuff, the episodes that I did. He's kind of in the group. And he said it's very hard for us to look at them. And he sent a picture. Really, it was kind of like hidden behind trees. You couldn't really see it. And I said, well, you have to give me something. He really wanted me to put a story out there. So TJ tried to say to him that, like, we're going to need a better picture because people aren't going to believe this. But he just said it was completely black from head to toe.
Okay.
And yeah.
Yeah, someone's asking Toby to ask if you can share photos. I don't know what that's all about. Um, Let me see here. I'm going down. Thank you. I like that you guys are having internal discussions. That's pretty cool.
Mm,
Your mom was right to throw out the board.
absolutely.
Yeah. It would have been nice if I knew in advance that she was throwing it out, but Hera was looking for it and couldn't find it.
Saves you heartache, I'm sure.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, can I come and visit you? Your description are all so beautiful.
Aw, well, maybe.
That's
Are
Kim,
you
by
the
the
one
way.
that? Okay. Well, we'll talk. Email me.
So Kim Teague, you heard her. She said email her.
That's what it is. Sabe, Quebec. Okay, look up 7 shoots.
Sabe,
See at the
Quebec.
bottom?
Okay, hold on one
Yeah.
second.
Thank you. I could not remember that for my life. It's an amazing picture. Very clear.
Okay, so this is a YouTube channel.
No, it's a picture of a dog man or a werewolf. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it's 7 shoots is the name of the area, I believe, where the picture was taken.
Straining up. Wait, let me just move it over here so I can see. So the picture is called Sabe, Quebec.
No, that's who it is. It came from Sabe, Quebec,
Okay,
the name of the country. And he said it's 7 shoots. Says it's a type 3 dog man. Thank you, by the way. That was lifesaver.
okay, I'm seeing a bunch of things. Is it I see it. I see what you're referencing here. It's
Mm-hmm.
this picture right here. Which would be this screen here. Is this it right here? I've seen
That's
this
it.
I've seen this picture before, but I thought it was a Sasquatch.
Yeah, no. But it's got like a
Yeah.
strip of kind of reddish brown hair down the middle and then gray around it, it looks like.
Yeah, there's something redishy on the top. I don't know. It looks like it's holding something. I
Yeah,
see
it
an
looks like a cat.
I see an arm and then I see
Yeah.
something else. This looks like a tail. It's like it's holding something upside down. So the tail is over its arm, but I
I
can't tell.
see I see the cat's head up above the arm. It looks like a cat's face to me.
Okay, the picture. Are we looking at the same picture?
Yeah, it's a white cat.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
everybody
white.
says it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is white.
everybody
Thinks
says
it's a
it's a
cat.
cat. Yeah.
Huh,
Can you
cool.
imagine? Like there it is, it's standing right there.
No.
Wow.
But that's down in like this wooded area here. Like
Yeah,
they were
they
hiking, I
were
think,
yeah,
when
and
they
they
took
they
this
looked at
picture. Yeah.
yeah, isn't that something, eh?
Yeah, I do remember seeing the photo before, but I didn't realize that it was a dog man.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, Matthew Perry. Yeah, okay, I'm at the Matthew Perry.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Kim says,
Oh, he
Leslie, you have such a beautiful heart and soul.
aw, thank you. That's very sweet of you.
The French call it Luc Gru. Okay, we're there. Okay, I'm at the bottom. Please call me Dizzy. Okay, I'll do that next time. It's a lot easier.
Who's dizzy?
Uh, Decidurum.
Okay, I don't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
They're
Yes.
near the bottom.
Who is
Poodle.
Zool? Pronounced kind of like Zool. Who is that?
Where do you see that? Where do you see Zool?
Dizzy, what is
Dis.
it? Dizzy.
Yeah, Dizzy.
Much
Yeah.
easier. Yeah, under the, yeah.
Oh, I see. He says Tasul is pronounced kind of like Zool.
Okay.
That's when I was trying to say Tasul Kahal or whatever it was.
Oh,
The
right. Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he's just
And
correcting me.
and yes, Sabe Quebec is saying he thinks it's a poodle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh,
I know. I know. Okay.
there was a lot of information about 4 or 5 years ago that dogmen would, um, if there was an area like a farm that had a lot of barn cats and stuff, they
Mm,
would feast on barn cats.
mm,
And yeah, and then that kind of died down. You know, the rumors ebb and flow, right?
yeah.
So,
Alrighty. Okay. If you guys have questions, pour them in. So we talked about your book, your books.
mhm, yeah.
I kind of touched on the woo thing, but you kind of you I think you started to say you don't believe in that. But I did hear you mention a lot about portals.
Oh, I
So,
do believe in the woo. Definitely believe that, but I don't know if I believe that they leave here. Mind you, Mike's got some pretty good evidence to the fact that they do,
yeah.
but I just don't know. Like, you know
Yeah, we
how
we don't.
somebody
You're
has a
right.
feeling of it, and then
Mhm.
it just seems to float, like people just seem to catch on to things. But I don't know. Yeah, it's very possible that there's portals. Some people really do believe in them, but I don't see any evidence of it myself.
Yeah. No, I
But
hear
yeah,
you.
I believe in mind speak, and although again, I don't hear much about it anymore. Um,
I am a she, by the way. Oh, really? I am so sorry. I always thought you
oh,
were a male.
oh,
My apologies for that. My bad. My bad. Um, uh, Going back to the whole woo thing, when I first got into this Sabe thing, I thought they were flesh and blood. I still do believe they're flesh and blood.
yeah,
However, I didn't believe either of the whole woo, portal, mind speak, all of that stuff. But the more stories I've read of people's encounters, the more I've started to, I guess, open up my mind and
hmm,
say, who am I to say that, these things aren't possible?
yeah,
That, that they can travel through portals, etc. And when you think about it, that kind of makes a lot of sense because you always only see, or when you see them, you tend to only see one footprint. I have seen
yeah,
twice in my life, I've seen only one footprint in the mud. Where's the
yeah,
other where's the other foot? Like it doesn't make any
exactly.
sense. So
Yeah,
it's
Mike would get that too. Like a big area of snow with one footprint in the middle, like surrounded by 10, 15 feet of just snow. How the heck did that one footprint get there?
mhm.
Like, that's a big step, to step like 1 foot and then you're 10 feet away. That's big.
Yeah.
And Mike's also got a picture of, I think he says it's an 11 foot Bigfoot standing beside a mailbox at the cottage.
Oh, really?
That, yeah,
I,
he's
s-
got that on his channel as well.
I saw the one that he posted recently where he gave them the camera, or he left the camera out and they started taking pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
So it looks like you see like the top part from the nose up, and it's standing behind like a partition or something,
I think
like a
it's a
fence.
tree. Yeah.
It,
Oh, yeah, no, that's the latest one.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's the latest one.
yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
I know I took a look at that and I'm like, what am I looking at? And
A lot of people are saying that that's a hoax, like it's
how?
not real, but I don't know. You know how it is.
Yeah.
They can't do it, so they have to knock it down.
hmm
But yeah, so I
Diana
don't know.
Diana wants to know, Leslie, will you be doing a Bigfoot conference in the future? We sure would like to meet you.
That's you never know. I don't say never. Like I'm thinking about Gatlinburg one of these days. So maybe I'll get Vanka and we'll go down together. We could maybe drive
Gattenberg?
down.
Where's
Yeah, that's
Gattenberg?
Tennessee, I think.
Oh
It's
wow,
like one of the
listen, that's a long
yeah.
drive.
Oh yeah, but it would be so much fun and I would love to see the Smoky Mountains and like I could spend a lot of time down there as an adult because a lot of this stuff I experienced as a child, right? And but as an adult it would be a whole different ball game. I love the Carolinas. I think there's so beautiful and
Yeah,
so many places.
I've driven through there. It is absolutely gorgeous. And talk
Yeah,
about a sea of green when you're there.
yeah. And they
Um,
have amazing weather.
let's see. Our brains works with energy waves, memory, language, etc., and it could be possible to mind speak using infrasound. Yeah, I've had a
Hmm.
couple stories about infrasound. I mean, it does a lot of things besides mind speak. It could immobilize you.
Yes.
And I'm sure
Yeah.
that's how a lot of people lose time. Uh, Bruna
Yes.
Bruna Mara says, talking about portals, there's a story on Leslie's channel about a woman telling that when she was a child, she was camping with her brother and saw a Sasquatch coming out of a big orb.
Oh, do you remember what's oh my gosh, Bruna, you don't I've been looking for that story forever. Do you remember what episode that was? And you if you remember, stick it in the comments because I have literally been looking for that story. Oh my gosh, that's funny that she mentions that. There's like camping on the side of a mountain in an old army tent that belonged to their dad or somebody. I vaguely remember that story, but I've always had an attraction to it. And it was one of my subscribers that wrote that story or had that experience.
hmm
Amazing, amazing story. Oh, you've been looking for it too. Oh, well, I a long time ago, before I lost my son and my husband, I had been approached by this gentleman. He was in his 90s and he was an amazing artist. He was a courtroom artist. And he said it was his dream to put out a book. He wanted to, um, oh my goodness, what's the word when you draw pictures? Oh my goodness.
When
He wanted to draw pictures that could, like, I could use for telling stories.
oh, like just like
Like
sketch
a
artwork, you
narrating.
mean?
Yeah. So if the story was about a Bigfoot pulling somebody out of the tent,
Yeah.
then he would do that drawing. He was an
Illustration.
amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, no, don't thank
And
me. Shell said illustrate, so I just add the
oh,
shun on the end.
oh, thanks, Dell.
Teamwork.
Yes, but him and I were working together because I was going to put out a book, like some of my stories with illustrations,
hmm
and then well, my husband died and I sort of just lost it. And put that aside. And I've been looking at these pictures, trying to find that video because I know he illustrated it and I cannot find it still. And that is heartbreaking because it was a really good story. And I wish I could remember who wrote it. And I would ask her to. I actually saw somebody in the comments a couple of weeks ago and I asked, "Were you the one that sent that story in?" Because I can't recall her name, but I wish I could find that story. Ah,
I don't see it yet
frustration.
in here, but I'm sure they're digging for you. Sue says, Leslie, thank you for being a bright light, lovely lady, and great channel.
Aw, thank you very much. You
Um,
know, I honestly do believe that you guys are like the greatest group of people that I am so blessed to have you guys because, you know, there's sometimes that I just don't feel like I love doing what I do. Please don't get me wrong. But there's times when it's hard and, you know, I'm just kind of in a funk or, and I think about you. I really don't ever want to let you guys down. So I feel bad but it's the best thing for me because when I start doing a video, I all that negativity leaves me. So I'm so thankful that I have this channel during this time of my life because I just probably wouldn't have pulled through because this, like, it really did keep me going. It still keeps me going. So I thank you guys for that a lot.
Dizzy says, question, have either of you ever thought about interviewing Indigenous elders about Sabe, other cryptids, and folkloric beings? I have.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
I have,
Both
but
of us
but
have,
I'll
yeah.
tell you the thing is they don't like to talk about it. You have to win their trust before they'll ever say anything to you.
Yeah.
I've heard that several times by other folks, and someone, I can't remember what his name is. We had a conversation. I think I told three stories on my channel from folks and reservations here in Ontario,
Hmm.
and had conversations with them afterwards, and they said the same thing. Like, if you want, they don't let anybody in that easily. So, but it would be an interesting thing because just the knowledge that they would have would be amazing.
Uh-huh.
But again, it's building that trust because you know, uh, I don't know what it is. I guess they don't want to have people ridicule them, you know? I think that's the biggest thing with people telling their stories is like, look at me, my own family was making fun of me. They don't anymore, thank God, but they did at one
Mm.
point. So nobody really wants to go through that. And now I really don't care. If I start
Yeah.
talking about it, I don't shrug away, I don't shy away. I'll continue to talk about if somebody asks me a question on it. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's just me. Let's see. Um,
Well, I kind of shy away because I just you kind of get so sick of this. They feel like they have this right to um, embarrass you and make comments like especially like in the grocery store, for instance. You get talking to the cashier and she's asked you what you do and I tell her, and then, are you serious? You're a grown woman. What are you thinking about stuff like that for? That's kid stuff and, oh, make believe TV stuff. And it's like this actually happened up in Minden where I was living. And I thought until that moment that this was a lady, like I went to her all the time, and I really thought that we had been developing a friendship that, maybe go out for lunch one day because I didn't really have any friends up there. I had my daughter up there, but she was a half an hour north of me. So, but when she said that to me, I thought, I really don't want to hang out with somebody who has such disrespect for me because, like, I would never, ever criticize somebody's passion or interests. And yeah, I get that people don't do it to be hurtful, but it does come out that way. they judge you for being silly,
Hmm.
chasing unicorns and,
Yeah, Kim,
but,
I think you nailed it. Kim says people do that because of their own insecurities. I believe I agree with you 100%. I think people are scared. Like
oh,
a lot of people are so into their 9 to 5 world that they can't conceive of there being this being living out there in the wilderness,
mhm.
having this gift, this power to mind speak or to do whatever else that they do. They just can't fathom it, and if they did, that means their whole world is going to fall apart, right? The Bible,
Uh,
all of that.
yeah,
Like seriously,
I
when you
was
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, no, no, I'm sorry, because there's a little bit of a lag. So, um, that's exactly, you said the Bible, because I am a Christian, but when people do that, and that I know that these people are Christian too, and it's like you have the nerve to criticize what I believe in, even though you're doing the same thing. You're putting everything, and I do the same. I 100% believe in what the Bible says. But they're doing the same thing, with my beliefs as they're doing with the Bible, like they believe in Jesus who they've never seen. And the same thing that I'm going through. But I do believe in the Bible. It's just that it irritates me that they can pick and choose who's right and who's wrong. You know what I mean? I hope I'm
Yeah.
saying this right.
No, no, no.
I'm not meaning to be disrespectful at
No,
all,
no, no,
but
no.
yeah.
I'm 100% on your side there. I agree with you. It's
Hmm.
it's not a matter. I'm also Christian. It's not a matter of being disrespectful. It's just a mind of being open and being
Yeah.
able to think in more than one plane, But a lot of people have
Yeah.
blinders on, and all they can think of, yes, Kim, they cannot take off their horse blinders. You're 100% right there.
Yeah.
It's tunnel vision, and they can't fathom because, like I said, then everything that they were told falls apart. How we came to be falls apart. Um, Parts of the Bible will fall apart. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
it's not. They just can't fathom that, so they just go on believing the 9 to 5. No, they don't exist. That's a fairy tale. That sort of
Well,
stuff.
look at the mountain ape, right? They'd heard rumors that this creature existed. Same thing with I think it's the Bobo chimp or the
Yep, the one recently. Yes, you're right.
remember, yeah, and there was talk that these existed, that these different cultures in Africa were seeing these apes and chimps, and finally they got pictures of them, and now it's common. It's easy for them to find them and take pictures of them, and so yeah, I know we haven't even scratched the surface of what's out there, and we're learning something all the time, So why couldn't there be a Bigfoot, a North American ape, so to speak, right? That's what I
Exactly.
think anyway. Yeah,
Exactly. I agree.
yeah.
Just let me give out three thanks. Thank you, Nuts Num 4 for subscribing, Michael Lamb for subscribing, and Timothy Newman for subscribing. Thank you, guys.
Nice. Yeah.
Um, Somebody just mentioned giant squid.
Yep. There you go. Another one.
Yeah, no, Kim was just saying, I guess based off what you were saying. Dizzy says so many people had parents tell them not to believe in ghosts and fairy tales. Speaking of fairy tales, I did a little short 2 weeks ago, I think, on a fairy, but I was actually going to do a whole session on fairies. And when you read back historically, parts of England actually wrote fairies into their what do you call it? Their laws, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I found that very interesting. So a lot of what we call fairy tales they've been written for a reason. And
Yeah.
to me, a lot of it probably existed at one point, and it's just now people can't fathom that this thing could exist. So it's a fairy tale, right? It doesn't exist. But
Yeah.
um, I mean, there's entities all around us. My sister is one for sure that she's very open to them, I guess is the word.
Mhm.
She has a lot of experiences, but
Yeah.
she's like a magnet. They're drawn to her. Thank God I'm not one of
Hmm.
those people, but yeah, that's another whole other thing. I think I should probably have her on one day and
Yeah, that would be
have
good.
her tell her story, but she has seen a lot of ghosts and stuff like that. So entities and kind of
Well,
like you.
let me tell you a story because now I know I'm never going to get this. Is my friend's story. I've been wanting her to come on my channel forever, and I just think it's not her up her thing, but up her thing. Oh my God, up her alley.
Yeah, it's not her
um,
thing. Yeah, I get it.
yes, exactly. So she came from a really rough life. I won't mention her name, but she came from a really rough life. And she ended up taking her sister's three boys because they weren't being treated well. So she was living in a townhouse, and I don't in the up in Canada, a townhouse is just sort of three floors or four floors. And she was upstairs cleaning, and one of the boys came upstairs and screamed that the two youngest boys were playing with matches in the basement. So she goes running down and she could smell smoke. She ran through fire to get to the basement. She got the one boy out the window because she found him. But the whole basement was engulfed and there was tons of smoke. So she found the littlest one who was hiding, and she was trying to get to the window. Her little stepson, whatever you want to call him, nephew, was singing Bible verses in his mother's ear or his aunt's ear, and she heard this god awful sound, and she turned around and she said, "The smoke cleared, completely cleared, and she seen a demon coming at her, was walking, it was upside down, holding on to the rafters, and its head was falling forward. So it was looking at her over the top of its head,
Hmm.
and it was walking along those rafters, and it was screaming and squealing at her and like hissing at her. Anyways, she basically um, got to that window and she grabbed her nephew by the arm. Somebody reached in and grabbed him out. And then the next thing, she woke up and she had like burns all over her whole body. But after things settled down, she asked her son Christopher, "Why?" I'm gonna cry. Uh, why were you singing Bible verses? And he said, "Because Jesus was singing them to me."
Oh, wow.
Yep. But she said she learned like a lot that day that her nephew, an innocent child, was protected by Jesus. But because of the life that she was living, Satan was coming for her because she was supposed to die in that fire. But at the last minute, somebody got her out. That's a scary, like, and this lady was not one to, she wasn't a liar or a storyteller,
Hmm.
and that's always resonated with me because I think, you only got one chance, right? Like, you don't know if your time's coming tonight, tomorrow, or, years down the road. So you have to do the best that you can do now. But anyways, that's the lesson. I learned that from her. But back to what we were talking about. all these years, people that believed in aliens and UFOs, they were, laughed at. And now look at it's all coming out that
Exactly, yeah.
it's a fact. Like these things exist.
Now it's like every day there's UFO stories and
Yep.
stuff, and it's like no one even blinks an eye anymore. It's like old news, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And one day it's going to be the same. I kind of hope it doesn't happen. I did always wish the government would stop their games and their antics and just let us in on the truth.
mhm.
But I'm kind of wondering now if that's not such a good idea. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No,
what would become of them?
yeah, that's, I mean, I've kind of had those thoughts as well, in the sense
Hmm.
that it'd be great for everybody to know that they exist. Um,
Yeah.
but then how do you go about telling people that? Because think about it, if the government was to say, "Hey, these guys exist," does this mean they're going to have to start paying taxes for the land they
Yeah,
live
that's
on?
exactly. Somebody
Like,
actually said that on my channel. Yeah,
how do you then, like, it's best to just leave them alone. Like, we don't
I
tax,
agree.
any other living creature other than people, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a strange situation.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to sort of conceptually, you know, have
Yeah.
have that known to everybody. Like, what are you going to tell people? Yes, they're here. Yes, they can do this. Yes, and then what? Then what do you do? But
I think it would be an open season. I would hate to see that. I really would. But especially because, every Yahoo can have a gun, right? Like, and no disrespect meant towards anybody, because we have hunters up here too. And yeah, we've got enough idiots running around in the woods with guns as well. But they're just going to be, if it's a known thing, are they going to go out and look for a body or, make a body? Who knows? So that kind of worries me a little bit. I don't want that to happen.
somebody wants to put a link. Let me see if there's a way I can. Not sure where I would do that at the moment, but I'll tell you what, I'll make sure for the next time, I allow links, because right now I don't think I do. So,
What do you mean? A link for what?
I don't know. They want to put a link. How can I put any link or email address? Well, if it's an email address, you can just type it out. Um,
Yeah.
but a link, I'm not sure. So, like, they want to copy like a URL and put a URL in here. That's a link to something, like a link to a
Oh, yeah.
photo or.
You should be able to do it, I would imagine.
No,
It's just a comment
sometimes.
section.
No, sometimes there's restrictions. I know I can
Oh, is
because,
there?
yeah, because I'm the owner of the channel.
Oh, yes, I get it. Yeah.
Oh, so
Could he?
you want a link to your channel? I think I can do that for you. I think I came across your channel when we were looking for um that Sabe Quebec. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I came across that YouTube channel. Okay, hold on. Now I'm having a hard time finding it. Get rid of that. There it is. I'll put that link for you.
Oh, I wouldn't mind seeing that Dogman hands.
Copy. So there's his YouTube channel. What are you guys talking about in here? The hands? What
Yeah,
hands?
something like that.
Okay,
Dogman hands.
it's my channel. Jim, I think so too. They always drag off their dead quickly. Yeah, you know what? That's one thing I always get on the channel, right? People always say, "Why can't you find their body?" Why? They
Yeah.
probably bury them. Give me a
Yeah.
break, right? Why wouldn't they bury them?
Actually,
If
yeah.
if Native Americans think that they are not an animal, but a tribe of people,
Hmm.
like we do. We bury our kin. Why wouldn't they bury their kin? In fact, I read a book, Enoch. I don't know.
That's what I was just thinking. Enoch by Autumn Williams.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I read this book, and in this book, the gentleman that she's talking about, he says he got to know they were a ape tribe in
Hmm.
Florida, and he learned from them that they not only bury them, but they plant a small tree on top of
Right.
their kin.
That's
Um,
right. Yes.
so when you think about it, that tree is going to grow very well. It's definitely going to survive because it's going to feed off of the nutrients of the body, right? So yeah, so why do people not think that they bury them? I have no idea. And the other question I get is, why don't people see them as often as they do? Why don't they? Well, did you guys see that photo of Ontario? Give me a break. There's no way you'd be able to see them.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many non-trailed or non-traversed areas, not only in Ontario, but all over North America and the States, that there's no way that you're going to get to every nook and cranny and be able to really get in there in the deep forests. So, yeah, you're not going to find them. Like, how often do people see cougars? Not that often. How often do people
Well,
see bones of moose or stuff like that? You don't, because they go off in the deep forest and they die somewhere, and it's somewhere that you'll probably never ever traverse through. So, anyway, I'm
well,
sorry,
I
I'm ranting there.
it's okay. No, I when I was wondering if I had seen a Bigfoot at the near Mohawk Park, I don't know who it was I was speaking to, but Algonquin Park in Ontario has
Mhm,
quite a few sightings. That's where I was living, just about I don't know, about 20 miles away from Algonquin Park. And the gentleman I was speaking to, he brought up Ontario on the map, same as you did,
mhm.
and he showed me Algonquin Park, and he showed me straight through to where I thought I had seen the Bigfoot, and it's constant forest, thick
Yeah,
forests
yeah, it is.
all the way down. Like they'd have to cross the road here and there, but basically it's just one giant forest is basically what Ontario is. It's all forests and small amounts of cities here and there. Even Toronto is not a giant city like that, like New York City. I guess it would be pretty close to that, but it's more compact, I think.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna bring it back up so people can take a look at it. But
Yeah.
um, let me
And
open this up.
Toronto is made up of, okay, and then you've got Hamilton, Oakville, and Mississauga. They're huge cities that are outside of Toronto, so it kind of makes it look even bigger, right?
Hmm? Okay, am I? Are you guys seeing this screen?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. I wasn't sure whether or not you were. Let me take a look. Yeah, this thing is really delayed. I'm looking to see here. Wow, the live stream is delayed. Um,
Oh,
so if you take a look at here, um, yeah, like you said, Toronto, Hamilton, Mississauga, they all hug Lake Ontario. But if you look
yeah,
just north of that, there's nothing.
yeah,
Lots of little lakes, lots of greenery. The
yeah.
entire population is basically around this waterway here. And then
And
there's nothing.
it's nothing. It's not even that much. That's probably what, 150 miles?
Yeah. And then if
Like,
yeah, and here's the vastness of it all. Like if you take a look, I was
yeah.
showing Angie this and she couldn't fathom it, but the size of Ontario probably fits in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Ohio, Michigan. What else can fit in there?
Hmm.
So yeah,
And,
those. And if you look at Quebec, it's even bigger.
But look at Michigan. Michigan goes further north than where I lived in Halliburton. Like Michigan is way further north than where I lived. Goes way up if you measure it across, right?
Yeah, but if you
It's
if you take a look at Toronto and you go across Toronto, we're pretty
mhm.
much in line with Oregon,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah,
people don't really think of it that way because it
yeah,
dips down, right? It dips. I don't know how to
yeah.
describe it,
Uh,
but here's
Many
Algonquin
of the
Park.
states are further north than Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Here's
yeah,
Algonquin, which Leslie just mentioned.
yeah.
It's this massive area here, and it's a national park, a
Mhm.
provincial, sorry, it's a provincial park.
Yeah,
Um, so there's nothing up here.
yeah.
I've never been to Lady Evelyn Smoothwater Provincial Park, but that would take me probably, let me see, what is that? 6, 7 hours to get to.
I've never even heard of it.
It's further north from Algonquin. So
Is
Algonquin
it,
would
eh?
take me about 4.5 hours to 5 hours to,
Yep.
well, 4.5 hours to get to the entrance because
Yeah.
Algonquin goes, that's pretty wide. It's probably an hour and a half to go through it, like the street,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's more, but it's at least that.
Yeah.
So I used to go to, let me show you. My ex had a cottage. It was beautiful. It was a log cabin. Here we go. Down here in, I just saw Limberlost. There we go. Let me hold on a second. I need to find Huntsville. There's Huntsville. Okay. So
Hmm.
Huntsville, Highway 60 goes all the way through Algonquin Park.
Hmm.
And if you were to go up Limberlost Road, which should be, it's Dwight, that's too far. This should be Limberlost right here. Let's see. Should be Limberlost, and then it goes off into turn. See here, Bella Lake. No, that's not Bella. Where's Bella Lake? Ah, there it is. Okay, so it continues up. You come all the way up here, and they had a cottage right here. This cottage right here used to be theirs,
Wow.
and they recently sold it. And this pond is like this whole area used to be their property. So
Mm.
they named this pond after their surname. The road coming in is named after their surname.
Wow.
And I remember once sitting on this dock. Show you this. We would be sitting on this dock, and you can see across Rebecca Lake, and there's a river that kind of shoots out, and then there's two cottages here. And there's like fast moving water coming out of here. And I remember once we were sitting there, it was about 6 p.m. I'm not saying that it was, I'm not sure. But the more I think about it, the more I think it could have been. Because we're sitting over here, and all of a sudden, somebody says, "Hey, take a look at that bear over there running into the water and running out of the
Oh,
water," right? They thought it was a bear.
yeah.
And mind you, I'm not saying it couldn't have been one because there is a dump. There is a beer dump right here. Not a beer dump,
Mm.
sorry. There is a dump right here, but bears would visit it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the way this thing was going in and out of the water wasn't on four legs. It looked like it was running upright in and out of the water. because it was catching fish that was coming out of this river here. And I
Mhm.
kept on looking at this thing. But back then I wasn't into Bigfoot, right? So I wasn't into the whole Sasquatch, are they here thing. It wasn't until years later that my son brought home a magazine from what's that ski resort? Ah, the mm, the one up by Wasaga Beach. What's that ski resort? Anyways,
Oh,
he had come
um,
home from a ski trip with his dad, brought home a magazine, and he says, "Mom, look at this, look at this." And he opened it up, and inside had a two-pager that talked about Sasquatches in Ontario and sightings of them here in Ontario. And that just blew my mind. Because I mean, I at that point I believed that they existed, but I wasn't really like seeking it out and doing a lot of investigative work, sort of, you know what I mean? Like I wasn't really doing any research on it. But once I read that article and started seeing where their sightings were, they were all along the Bruce Peninsula, which is where I like to hike.
yeah.
Um, that's when I got the fever, like everybody does, right? Everybody
Yeah.
seems to have that fever, and then they just all they do is research and research, and I started to do that. And yeah, and look at me now. I started a YouTube channels years later, but
Mhm.
it takes everybody by storm, right? Everybody that really sort of gets into it, you get into it, like one way or
Mhm.
another. But again, I don't think I really want to see one. But being up at that cottage, thinking about that years later, you got to wonder, was that a bear or was that not a bear?
Mm.
So I always wonder, but I can't say for sure because there were bears up there.
Oh yeah, lots of bears. Yeah.
But, who knows, right? I mean, back then I wasn't looking for tree structures or loops or
Yeah.
X's or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Crazy, crazy, eh?
it is. It is
Got the
a
Bigfoot bite.
it is a fantastic world, and it is a journey. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
that is for
fun.
sure. Okay, so I'm looking at the time here, and what did I tell you, Leslie, about the
I
time?
know.
Eh?
We went over your friend's time.
Yeah, we did. It's
Yeah.
2.5 hours of chit-chatting. So
Yeah. I
I
love it.
yeah, I think guys, we're gonna kind of end it off here. I just want to know, do you guys have any other questions that you want to ask before we let you all go for this Saturday evening? I wanted to share pictures is all. I have a few, most were blurry. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's a question. Somebody, and I kind of do believe that why they're blurry is because the different frequency is.
It could be, but the other thing is
Yeah.
this. If you've ever taken a shot of something, I'll give you a for instance. I take a shot. I love the moon. The moon, I don't know what it is about the moon, but when the moon is full, I love taking
Yeah.
videos of it. But when you
My son
try,
was like that.
but when you try and zoom in on this thing, it's a big thing in the
Hmm.
sky, right? When you zoom
Hmm.
in, you lose it. And when you zoom in, you get more pixelation.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with anything in the forest. If you were to look at an object and you try zooming in on it, you're going to lose it. It's going to, like, because when you zoom in, your focus becomes more centralized. And when it becomes more centralized, you lose the actual location of what you were physically on. You then have to move your camera to try and
Hmm.
find it because your window is so tiny. That's the whole zooming in part, right?
Hmm.
So you're going to lose sight of it. And anytime you zoom in on something, it gets grainier, especially at nighttime.
Mhm.
You may not notice that so much during the day, but at night, yes. But then when somebody were to take that photo and then enlarge it, it becomes even more pixelated. And the more people take photos of that one thing or videos of one thing, again, it loses its original quality. That's just the way it works. So it's not as easy as some people think it is to take a photo of something and get a nice clean shot. That
That's true.
subject has to be sitting still. It can't move for you to take a
Yeah.
shot at it. And even then, because they have hair, hair acts a lot like camouflage, and it will camouflage in with the green leaves around it. Like you may not think so. Like you may think the color black is going to stand out. It does to a point, but if you as soon as you start zooming in, you're not going to be able to really tell the definition of what you're looking at. Uh,
Yeah.
Bruna Mara asks, I do have a question. Les, what do you think about Sasquatch and the UFO connection? We have some cases related to Sasquatch and the UFO phenomena.
Um, well, like everybody, why not? I don't have any, like, there's a lot of stories around that, but like everything else when it comes to Bigfoot, we don't have a lot of evidence. But, nothing surprises me. Like when I was in my 30s, I had my firm beliefs. But the older I get and the more I'm kind of blown out of the water, just the stuff that is such a surprise, like, oh my God, whoever knew? So I don't say no, definitely not, because there's a lot of stories out there that say different. And I don't make judgments about the stories that I read. So why not? I don't see why not, you
Yeah.
know? Um, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, go
When
ahead.
we first started, you said you liked Timber Giant
Yes.
Bigfoot.
Uh-huh.
Did you know he had an amazing video of a Bigfoot on the land that he
Yes.
hikes through? You
Big
seen
Red.
that? That's amazing. Yeah, Big Red.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I actually got so furious with him. I'm
Why?
like, oh, because he had this Bigfoot right in his sights, and he stops and he picks up a piece of wood and he slams it on a tree,
Yeah, but
and
you
the
know,
Bigfoot got up and left.
but
So
that is the
I
same thing there. It's the same thing that I was just talking about with his camera. Here he is. He
Mhm.
had to be about I don't know, what would you say, 80 to 100 feet away from this thing?
Definitely, yeah.
And
But he had a
so
good shot of it
he
though.
did. But the
Yeah,
problem is, as soon as he takes his eye off of the camera and onto the thing, your hand's
yeah,
going to move. Your hand's not going to stay in the same spot. It's kind of like when you're driving. You know, when you're driving down the road, as soon as you start looking to your left, you are actually going to start veering to the left. If you start looking to the right, you're going to kind of start veering to the right. It's your eyesight kind of moves your hand in the same general area. It's the same thing with when you're taking a photo. You take a photo, you look up, you look up. There goes your camera. Your camera goes up as well. And he
but
didn't
yeah,
have he didn't have a tripod or anything. So all he
no,
was doing was trying to anchor it onto his hand and zoom in and catch this thing. And so every time he looked up at it, because he could see it probably better with his
yeah,
eyes than he can with the camera,
yeah,
he would lose sight and he would have to zoom in. And yeah, I hear you. He should not have done a tree knock. I don't know what
yeah.
he was thinking of.
Bad timing,
He
bad
should have
timing.
just
Yeah,
sat there and watched
yeah,
it. But if you saw Thinker Thunker, Thinker
yeah.
Thunker did a little thing on it as well.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he said that there's probably a baby there, and that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
he was able to get up so close to it. And that seems to
That's
be,
just amazing.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the best that we've
I do
seen.
too. And
Um,
nobody knows about it.
Yeah, the other one, and I did actually share it on one of my top 5 videos or top 10 videos that I had. The other one that I shared that I really liked was the other one in Ontario where there was a bunch of boaters. Um, there was a boater with a bunch of people in the boat, and they see one walking on like a strip of land. So they
Oh,
follow it. I don't know if you've
yeah.
seen that one.
I think like it goes across like a point of an island.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that the one?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
okay.
I covered that
Amazing.
one as well. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that one is pretty, I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty crisp. It was actually,
100%.
yeah, it was actually on Reddit. That's where I found it. And then
Hmm.
I was kind of taken back because a not Timber Giant, Thinker Thunker covered it as well. But what he did
Yeah,
was he took the film that I have, I guess because he didn't want to be monetized,
yeah.
demonetized, and he flipped it the other way, right? So it looks like it's coming from the reverse. But in any
Oh,
case,
okay. Yeah.
yeah, so we have a bunch of people here. Let me just, I don't know if you can hear my dogs barking. I hope not.
Just a little bit. It's not a worry. Don't, not at all.
Yeah,
I
anytime
love
anybody
dogs.
walks in front of my house or anything, they start barking.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, let me see. Sabes are to modify waves and inference sounds. Yeah, I mean, they can sense you have a video camera, that's for sure. For some reasons,
Mhm.
though, they don't seem to be too bothered by cell phones. But a camera and a camcorder, yeah, they kind of sense them. Um,
Actually, you want to know something? I remember this is from years ago. This young girl, she was going through something mentally, and she asked her dad she needed to go camping. I got to find this story. She's she makes her campground, and she goes walking, and she's in the desert, if I'm not mistaken. And she's sitting there by the water, and she like a little pond. There was ridges on both sides of her, and all of a sudden the sun is blocked. She's got a shadow over her.
oh
She
wow.
looks up, and it's a giant Bigfoot. Well, he ends up befriending her, takes her to his cave. She meets his whole family, and every year she goes back. And somebody, she was telling her story, and the person she was telling it to, and it might have been oh geez, the two brothers, I forget their names, Les and Woody.
I don't
I
know
think
them.
it was on their show.
Les and Woody.
And yeah, what's the name of that? Sasquatch Chronicles?
Okay, I do know Sasquatch Chronicles. I just don't know their names.
Yeah, so they said, if I'm not wrong, I could be wrong, but she said that she would be happy. They would welcome if she brought somebody with her, and
Hmm.
they would welcome them, but you could not bring a weapon and you could not bring a camera.
Okay, so here's the
So,
thing.
and
Here's the issue I have with that.
mhm.
How do you trust somebody going in there not to then leak it to everybody else and then potentially destroying their habitat?
Right, I agree with you, but I think that she had like the guy, whoever it was she was speaking with, were so desperate to experience this with her that they were willing to do whatever it took, like blindfolds, whoever knows. But I never did hear if they did go, and but what a story, eh? Like
Hmm.
every year she felt so welcomed by them, and she goes back every year to see them. So, you know what? I would give my eye teeth to do that.
Hmm.
I would. I would just, oh my God, what an experience, eh?
It would be for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
You
guess
can tell I'm a little obsessed, right?
yeah, I think we both are.
Yeah,
How can you
yeah,
not be? But
yeah.
I have this thing I think I keep on mentioning to you. I really don't want to see one. I'm happy, like I know they exist.
Yeah.
I don't need to see one to know that they're there, you know?
Yeah.
Let me see. Diana says, I would like to express that I so appreciate all of the listeners who support each other. You are
Oh,
all an amazing gift. Jim says, thank you. What a great was it was great as always. Catch you on the next one. You
oh,
definitely will, Jim. Toby
that's
says,
sweet.
knowledge is power.
Right on.
Um, Let me see. Sabi Quebec says, I tried to calculate the height of the creature in that video. Okay, he's talking about the video. Toby wants to know how tall it was. Dizzy says, thank you for your responses. If I were a faster typist, I might be able to catch up. Sorry.
Aw, aw,
Bruna says, thanks to our beloved Les, and thank you
aw, thank
for
you.
the owner of this channel at Ontario Cryptids. Hi again, Bruna. My name is Vanka, and yes, I am the owner of, or you can call me V, it's up to you, Ontario Cryptids. I subscribed just yesterday. I guess I saved some videos to watch later. It's so
Aw,
nice to share your stuff. Oh, let me shout you
beautiful.
out then. I didn't
Yeah.
realize I was only basically calling out those who subscribed today. But yes, there are a few that subscribed recently. So thank you guys. Robin Kierter, Brandon Zelinsky, Barry Seaman, Tugan Vagana. Okay, that's an interesting name. Tony
Yeah.
Pino, TC Dracula, and I'd have to load the screen to read the rest of them, but thank you so much. Um, you are so welcome, and it's with a C, not with a K. Jean Templar, you gals are amazing. Keep up the great content and cheers. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. And Kim says, thank you, ladies, for doing this. I love you so much, Leslie. We love you
Oh,
so much.
well,
They love
thank you,
you a
Kim. I
lot,
appreciate it.
Leslie. You know that,
I
right?
know, and I love them too. I think they're just wonderful. And like I said, they're all on your channel too. I see all of my subscribers over there. So that's amazing.
Yeah, oh no, that's fine, Sabe. That's okay. People always think it's a K instead of a C. Diane Kruger, what is your name? My name is Vanka. My last name is Mansell. But you can call me, well, okay. My actual birth name is Jovanka, but I go by Vanka because it's a lot easier uh, to to go by for most people. But
Are you Russian, Venka?
no, I'm from Aruba. I'm from an island in the Caribbean. My mom,
Where's your accent from?
oh my God, it's funny. Everybody says I have an accent.
You
Uh,
do. And
yeah,
it
weird, eh?
sounds Russian to me.
No, I'm not Russian. That's really weird because I don't always hear it in myself, but sometimes I do.
Oh,
I think it's
definitely.
how I phrase things. I don't know. Anyways, I'm from Aruba, which is an island in the Caribbean. Here, since we're doing some show and tell, let me go ahead and show and tell. So I was born. Where's my window? Right here. I was born right on this lovely island here. Um, you're seeing some pictures of it.
Wow, that
Let's
water.
go to, yeah, so this is where I'm from, this desert island. It's pretty much a desert island.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's really, really nice. There's a lot of UFO sightings on this island. And as I was starting to say prior, you also get a lot of uh like ghosts and entities and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was born here. My
mm.
mom named me after Sophia Loren, who did a movie called The Five Branded Women. Her name was Giovanka at the time. And so she decided to give me an Italian name. That name is very Italian. Um,
Okay.
yeah. And all my other siblings, they got very Anglo Saxon names.
Hmm.
I was the only one that got an exotic name, put it that way.
That's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, but yeah, so my name is Vanka Mansell. Vanka, you sound First Nation, friends of mine from Alaska. Thank you,
Yeah,
Dizzy.
I hear that too.
Thank you, Dizzy. I get that as well. I do have Caribbean heritage in me, like Indian heritage, Arawak
Hmm.
Indian, but it is very minute. But yeah, Aruba, Jamaica. Yeah, you know the song.
Yeah, yeah, I was
Yeah.
just singing it.
Oh, were
That's
you?
good. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I get that. I have probably more British and French uh heritage in me than I actually do have. I don't think they call themselves First Nations down under, like down in the Caribbean. But I know North America they call them First Nations. They're just the Caribbean tribes, you know.
Mm.
But yeah. So I'm going to say, Bruna Venka, do you have any stories of sirens? I think I have one. I believe I have one siren story. I don't remember the actual number at the moment, but I think there's only one that I know of. How about yourself, Leslie? Do you have any siren stories?
I was just going to say, what the hell is a siren?
Oh, so sirens are like mermaids, and what they do
Oh,
is
yes, I do.
they normally divert attention, like they'll serenade you, so to speak. They put you in like a lull, like a it's when you
Yeah,
think about it, it's kind of like how a sabi would use infrasound, right?
right.
So the story goes like the pirates and stuff that used to always be on the waters would always come across these sirens, which were always beautiful looking mermaids, but
Mm,
they would confuse them with their song, and then that would mean their boats would get wrecked up on a rock or whatever, and they would all
yeah,
die. So yeah, they kind of entice you, they trap you, let's say.
yeah. Um,
um
yeah, I haven't had actual mermaid, but definitely there was a couple of stories I had. Creatures coming out of the water, walking on two legs. Um, yeah, that's only two I've got about something like that. A man and a woman saw the one was about a man and a woman, and the other one was just a woman sitting by herself on what just watching the water, and it came up out of the water. It didn't even notice her sitting there. That's the only time I've ever heard of anything like that.
hmm. Diane says, gorgeous. I did some diving in Bonaire. Yeah, Bonaire is a sister island.
Diane, you're all over the place, dear.
She's a traveler. Good for her.
Yes.
Good for
I hope you're
her.
fe- I hope you're feeling better, dear. She wasn't
uh
feeling well.
Leslie's channel, there's two or three stories about mermaids. So
There you
look,
go.
they're
Holy
schooling
smokes.
you on your own channel.
Do you know what, Venka? I have almost 600 stories.
Yeah, I know.
I
You've got a
swear,
ton. You've got a ton.
I can't even keep like I go back. Oh, I cringe when I listen to my old stuff because I had the worst mic and it just sounds so terrible. And it's like, anyways, but I don't even remember that story. Like I don't have the capacity, the brain capacity to remember all this stuff anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and I don't have not even half of what you have. I think I only have 150 something, 60
Yeah, but you
something.
work full time, dear. Like
Yeah,
you've got your
but
hands
still,
full.
but still.
Yeah.
Anyways,
It'll
yeah,
come.
it will. It really will.
Yeah.
So we are gonna wrap stuff up. We're coming up to 11 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
Leslie, if you wouldn't mind just sticking around for a tiny bit,
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
just going to give a little bit of news and then we're going to end this off. I just want you guys to know I am going to be having a membership um, program starting. And basically, it's, the opportunity for you guys to pitch in and help out with me getting more or better equipment per se. for because what I would like to do is actually start hiking again because I haven't actually done any hiking this year. So, Leslie, you and I need to go out for a hike.
Hmm,
I want to actually start doing my own videos for my channel. And the reason for that is
nice.
a lot of times I get demonetized because someone's claiming a video, but it's a video that is meant for anybody to use. So I don't understand how that works with YouTube, but I find that very annoying. So if I can just do my own videos, I won't ever come across that again, which I find super annoying. Like today, for instance, I used like my intro has it's actually in the stream. It's that intro that has the swaying what do you call it? Not willows, bulrushes, and there's a
Hmm.
sunset in the background. Well, somebody claimed it and said it's their
Yeah,
video, and I know it's not because I got it from Pixel, and I know the author of it. But
yeah.
once they put a claim, there's really nothing you can do until you fight it. So I can't be bothered with doing that.
Well, I'm going to tell you that's exactly why they do it, honey, because same thing. I was getting videos that were free to take. They were, like no content, all that, right? But one tiny little video, okay, one picture in their video was not theirs to use. So they can nail you on that. But I do know that out of China, there's a group, this people, whoever,
Hmm.
will just pick and choose from your videos and say that they own the video,
Hmm.
and 90% of the people can't be bothered, and so they don't fight them on it because how do you prove it? But you don't have to prove it. All you have to do is make a stink or like to fight back, and
Hmm.
the people just drop it. They don't,
Then
and
maybe I'll do
you
that
think about it.
because
Yeah, you're losing that money.
yeah, I spent all that all day today. Like I said, Saturday is my day for putting this stuff up, and
Yeah,
I get to the end, and it's a video I use all the time. It's part of my intro, and
yeah,
so I'm like, what? What are you talking about? This is not yours. It belongs to so and so who I give credit to in
yeah.
my actual thing. So actually, I might fight it, and then that way I don't have to worry about um, uh, uh, going back and editing everything out and then
Yeah.
exporting it back out again. But anyway, so
And also, once they get you and they get away with it, they will come back and I noticed that I probably lost about 7 or 8 videos by the same people. And so now I fight every one of them. Now I don't bother because I took a poll with the people on my channel,
hmm.
and they all said that they don't really care about the video aspect. They sit back and listen.
Hmm.
So I just put one long picture up there of a Bigfoot or whatever, and I don't swap out and stuff like I used to.
Hmm.
Um, Takes forever and a day to do it.
It
So
does, yeah,
I
but
just, yeah,
I like
I
it.
just add the one, right?
It's yeah.
But see, you could take the chance of losing that whole video, and like if you get monetized or you're monetized, and say you have a run of, I don't know, 50,000 people that all of a sudden are interested in that video, you still lose that income to that person that's lied
Hmm.
and claimed your video. So I
Unless
fight them.
yeah, unless you exactly, unless you you win and then they don't get any money from it. But yeah, it is annoying. But
Yeah.
anyways, for the membership, I think the first one I've called it just OC members. It's a buck 99, and you're gonna get. Oh, somebody else just subscribed. Hold on, I'll call
Nice.
you out in a minute, and you're gonna get these lovely little stickers here, and you're gonna get a membership badge. Also, I'll make sure that you get priority responses. And what's the last thing? There's one more thing. Shout outs. You'll be shout out for being a member. Then I have a tier two. That's the for 4.99 Canadian. It's the premium members, and so they end up getting the same things for the first tier. Plus, I'm gonna have on my Discord channel. So this is sort of what I was showing you, Leslie.
Mm.
We're gonna have monthly chat sessions where we just get on and talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's not a stream. It's just, whoever is in there will get in and we'll chat. Plus, being on the Discord channel, you'll be able to. Can I show that actually?
I think
Uh,
so.
yeah, let me show that. Hold on a second. I'll show you what I mean, guys. Let me show you. Come back over here. There you go. So if you look on the left-hand side here, yeah, we're more concerned with this stuff. So if you come in here, the Discord channel is going to greet you. I'm going to set up some rules, introductions, stuff like that. And then all my uploads are here. So you get everything in one spot. And if you want to tell anybody about a great camping area or hiking trails, you can leave that here. Any book suggestions you have, you can put in here. And this is only going to be for the premium members, right? Um, and then any general comments, jokes and memes, and any interesting articles on Reddit. And if you have a story that you want to share, you can put it there. Any pictures you want to share, you can also put in here. And you guys can
Really
just jump,
cool.
yeah, you can jump into a chat room and just chat with each other. I was telling Leslie that if she wants to do this for her channel, I will gladly help her set one up. But so you'll be added to this. We'll have monthly chats. And there was one more thing, and I can't remember what the last thing is. There's one other perk. Anyways, I'm going to be putting together a little clip talking about it to inform you of when it's going to be live and what it all entails, so you guys get that information firsthand. Besides that, I will be streaming every month, and nothing changes, by the way. Everything stays the same. All my uploads will be the same. Shorts will be the same. Anybody can access them, but you'll just have cute little emotes, and you'll have a badge beside your name anytime you leave a comment and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'll be streaming monthly. That's not going to change. And actually, maybe I should do a poll and see who you guys would like to have on next time, because it was your suggestion that brought Leslie here.
Aw.
And I am very happy that Leslie, and now I'm trying to remember where the poll thing is. Um, I'm very happy that Leslie decided to, there we go, start a poll. Decided to join us today.
Yeah, of course.
Next guest. Oh, geez, I'm doing the poll wrong. Yeah, no, that's not how you would do it. I'll tell you what, I'll just leave a couple of names, or you guys can just drop a name right in this here, or I'll drop a poll or something like that in my on my communities tab. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Members, premium members will also have a separate area in the communities tab where they'll get special announcements that others won't see. So yeah, so that's all the info for Ontario Cryptids. And listen, Leslie, Kim says you should do this, Leslie. It will help your income.
Yeah, I didn't even know that kind of thing. Somebody's been telling me I should do what is that other thing called, Venka? That oh, good Lord. Where you have the premium memberships and all of that.
That's what I'm talking about. It's the member
Not
program.
this one. It's called something else. I can't remember.
I
But
only know this
anyways,
one. There's
yeah,
this
it's
one. You can also have a what do you call it? A where people can just give you a tip. What's it called?
Yeah, no, that's just on the regular, but this is the other one where like it starts with a P.
Oh, Patreon.
Yes, thank you. See what I mean? My brain is fried by the end of the night. Yeah, Patreon, and I just think, oh my gosh, how would I go about that?
Yeah, you
So, like,
see, to me that's an added work because if you do memberships, that's going to be the same as having a Patreon. So you don't have to do two things, you can just do one
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, so it's coming. Don't worry, guys, we'll get Leslie on this before you know it. So
yeah,
yeah,
it's
it'll
nice.
be there before you know it. So
Oh,
I want to
thank you.
thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank Leslie for joining us. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, merch. Thank you, Dizzy. I am looking to do some merch. I have some. I don't know if I should show you guys. Should I? No, no, no. We'll keep it a secret. I won't show you guys. I do have some merch lined up. I just haven't finished setting up my shop yet, as they call it. It all takes time, and as Leslie says, I do work. So
Yeah,
I do
yeah.
work during the week. So my time to do this stuff is primarily on the weekends, and
Yeah.
then during the week it's mom, work, dogs, clean house, all that
What
all that good stuff.
what does Sabe Quebec mean when he says who's playing with the Logitech wheel? What do you mean by that, dear?
I am.
What
Uh,
is that though?
I have a mouse and it has a scroll wheel. Can you guys see that? How are you guys
Oh,
seeing that?
I
Oh, I
don't
know why
know. I
you're
didn't even
seeing
know what it
that.
was.
Because I have a screen capture on right now. Hold on. Let's go back to here. Yeah. So my setup is I have the chat window open so that I can see what they're saying.
Mm.
And if they have any questions, I'll know right away. So I was scrolling up and down with the wheel. So it's the middle mouse button.
Yeah, I
Um,
have one on mine too, but yeah, you can
y-
move it up and down.
yeah,
But
he must have seen that I have a Logitech because I love
ah,
Logitech. I have a Logitech headgear, Logitech mouse. I have something. My camera is Logitech. Yeah, I love Logitech. Yeah, and I use
the
their G Hub.
Logitech mouse too.
Yeah, yeah, I love their brand. But yeah. So thank you guys. This is going to be it for sure now. Leslie, stick around for
Thank
just
you.
for just a sec,
I will. I
and
will.
I'll leave you guys off to this. So have a pleasant well, no, evening. Oh my God. See, you thought you were tired.
It'll be
Um,
morning soon.
exactly. Have a pleasant evening, guys, and we'll catch you guys next time. Ciao for now.
Bye, guys. Love you.
And she does, trust me.
Aw. That was fun.